Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, August 3rd, 2013. This is episode 1001. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Ting.com. Ting is a mobile phone service that just makes sense. You'll save money with Ting and pay for what you used. It doesn't require a contract, and Ting offers unlimited services on one pooled plan. To save $25 on your first Ting visit techguy.ting.com. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used Samsung Galaxy, iPhone, or other smartphone is worth at gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. It's time to talk computers and the internet, cell phones and camcorders, home theater, MP3 players, PDAs, digital doodads of all kinds, all shapes, all styles. My phone number, 8888-ASK-LEO, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Outside the U.S., you can always use Skype to reach us. You'll be calling Heather Hammond, who is ready and willing and able to take your call. She's not. I don't know. Do we have your mic button set up yet or not? Do you see one?
No, I guess not.
We got a thing, so you can press a button. A doohickey.
Is that the technical phrase?
We're waiting. Yeah, the doohickey is a technical phrase. We're waiting for the 50-foot cable because you're not allowed to come within 50 feet of me, so we have to make sure.
This is about a restraining order. Yeah. We wanted to keep her on the show, but she's a little problematic.
Yeah. No, not at all. It was her keeping me from her. But that's why there's a glass pane between us.
We'll just call it a truce.
So this was a big week. There was a lot to do, and finally, it's been so hard. I'm never doing this again. I signed what they call a non-disclosure agreement. That's where you agree that a company.
Leo Laporte show.
Oh, sorry, left your mic on. See, we're gonna get you a button. No, it's good. No, I go to work. You need to do your work. You need to answer calls. There's this thing in the, I think a number of businesses have this, but it's very common in the tech industry where if you're a tech journalist and a company wants to show you something but doesn't want you to write about it till date XYZ, there's two things they can do. They can embargo it. So that's usually a press release. And they'll say, well, you can't tell anybody about this until, August 2nd. Or they can do something that's even more. Embargo is kind of more like a verbal agreement. Which you break at your peril, because of course, if you do leak it out, they're going to be mad at you. They're never going to tell you anything ever again. There's something a little bit more serious called a non-disclosure agreement, which is a signed document with the force of the law, and I presume they could sue you for damages. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was July 11th, I went down to Google. Motorola had an event down there, and they wanted to show me a phone. And I normally never do this because I don't like knowing. First of all, I'm a blabbermouth. So I don't like knowing something I can't say. That's hard. But also I feel like, and this was a good test. I haven't done a non-disclosure or an embargo in literally a decade. I haven't felt the need to. They were designed originally for the print media where, if you worked for PC Magazine, you had to have a story 2 weeks before the date it got to the newsstands because they had to print it and deliver it by trucks. But they see none of that's true anymore. Everybody's got a kind of instant turnaround. Nevertheless, these things persist. And I realize, I think one of the reasons is companies can use it to kind of control you. This is why I don't like to do it. While everybody in the world was talking about this new Motorola phone, the Moto X, or all the leaks and all that, it was hard. I had to just shut up. So finally the non-disclosure agreement ended. And in fact, I have one of those phones in my hands. I got it yesterday, and I've been playing with it. And I will give you my full impressions of it at some point over the next few weeks. It's hard to judge a phone on one day's experience. There's some things that are very, very interesting about it. And by the way, Google has said they're going to spend $500 million to promote it. So there's nothing you won't know about this phone soon through ads on every possible form of media. But the reason it's getting a lot of attention, it's important. When have we paid attention to a Motorola phone in a long time, right? Droid. Motorola was aiming its phone at boys, who liked robots and things with glowing red eyes. Droid. Although I know a lot of people who liked the Droid phones. Verizon was the only carrier, just because they liked the phones. They were powerful. They were good. They did, some of them, like the Droid Max, had amazing battery life. The Droid HD had the highest resolution display in the market, But even as I speak of it, when I say things like that, you could see that people would buy Droid based on specs. How fast is the processor? How big is the screen? How long is the battery? Not even how long is the battery. How many milliwatt hours does the battery support? And Google bought Motorola. The deal closed about a year ago for $12.5 billion, the largest acquisition Google's ever made. It even dwarfed the acquisition of YouTube. I mean, lots of money. And people wondered, well, what are you getting? This company is kind of not... There are really only two companies in smartphones, at least in the U.S., Apple and Samsung. The rest are also RANs. Weak second, third, fourth. Motorola is not even really in the race. Why would you buy this company? About half the worth of the company was in its patents, but I think Google wanted a phone manufacturer. I really do. I think they wanted somebody that they could bend to their will to make the I'm not going to say the perfect Android phone, but the right Android phone. I think Google was looking at what was being done by Samsung and Motorola and others with the Android operating system, which Google really kind of has been fostering. They don't own it outright. It's an open source project, but they kind of do. They're the source of it. And they've been looking at it and they've been saying you're junking up. You're painting the Mona Lisa. Please leave it alone. And so for some time, Google has sold what they call Nexus devices, pure Google Experience Android devices. But I think the idea of buying a handset manufacturer like Motorola and making phones that Google thinks represent what Google's trying to do might be a good idea. And that's why we're paying attention to this Moto X, because this is the first phone since the acquisition that's all Google. Even the Droids that Motorola announced last week, they were really pre-Google phones. It takes a while to design a phone, but this one was designed over the last year from the ground up to give Google what it was looking for. And it's it's an interesting phone because the specs nerds, the guys who I ask, well, how many milliamp hours? What is the resolution of the screen? Is it a high DPI screen? Those guys are looking at it and going, well, gosh, we're a little disappointed. We thought it'd be more. I frankly find nothing about the specs disappointing. It's fast. The screen's gorgeous. Camera's great. I don't see any issue with battery life. I got it to run a full day without charging yesterday. And, when you get a new phone, you use it a lot more than usual. But it does something that really I think is important to Google. And it's the feature that Google's going to highlight in all of its ads. When I say Google, Google Motorola. It's always on. It's always listening. And when you say, okay, Google now, it wakes up and takes commands. And that is kind of interesting. Okay, Google now. Now it's not. Stop paying attention to me because I'm on the radio. That's very interesting. Google demonstrated that a couple of months ago in Chrome. And it hasn't come out yet in Chrome, where Chrome would just always be waiting for you to say, okay, Google now. And when you said that, by the way, it's not sending that back to the home office. You actually train the phone. You say it 3 times so the phone knows what you sound like. And then it's listening for that. But it doesn't need to send any information back to the home office. Although I think people will probably worry that it is. We can find out. That's the kind of thing you can analyze. What is it sending back to the home office? It does indeed, after you say, okay, Google now, it does. Oh, I know what happened. I untrained the phone. That's what happened. I have to retrain it. I was going to see if I could use a different phrase, and I untrained the phone, so it's not listening to me anymore. But that's the point. It's not sending it back to Google. It's just listening for a certain waveform, and then it wakes up, and you can tell it things like, what is the weather? What is 2 times 2? What is the tip on $115? And it answers you without touching the phone. It's kind of interesting. This is really what Google wanted. Google wanted a phone that could demonstrate the power of, I think, perhaps its most important product, which is not search, it's not Google Drive, it's Google Now. It's the idea that the phone kind of knows what you're up to and will give you information even before you know you need it. Very interesting. We'll talk. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I detrained it. Yeah, it says I don't know what you want. Finish training the phone. All right, so it's gonna be quiet in here. And it says don't hold it too close. Let's do it. Let's do it again. It seems to be unhappy. Have I broken it? Music's playing. I don't hear any music. Do you hear any music? Oh. I get it. Not in the room. It can't do it while I've got this going. Google Music was running. Now I understand. Okay, now let's try it. I broke it. Oh my goodness. I've broken the phone. All right, I'm going to restart. I think I did something. I think it's a bug. It's a bug. We found a bug. Yeah, so this is a loaner for a few weeks. It's AT&T. I don't want an AT&T phone. So I'm going to buy a T-Mobile version when it comes out. And you know what they have, which I really want? This is the carriers in the stores will have black and white. It's fine. I mean, this looks just like an iPhone. It couldn't be more like an iPhone. It's about the same size and shape. But what I want is the wood-back one. Have you seen those? They haven't made out of wood. That'll be awesome. Oh, this startup is cool, too. It's the Google Doodle. I love the startup. I've not seen that before. I don't know. Do other Motorola's do that? It's awesome. Yeah, it's got like a wood back. Anyway, I will get this, just even judging from my first experiences of this, having this always listening for you is so useful that I will certainly get this. It will read you as you're driving. Well, I'll show you some things. Let's see if I can record now. Okay, Google Now. Okay, Google Now. Okay, Google Now. Okay, Google Now. That was bad. Now, where you don't get this is if you put a lock on it. But it does have, and this is one of the features that people weren't talking about that I was excited about. It does have this idea of if you're within an authorized authenticated Bluetooth range, you can have it unlock. So I can have it when I'm sitting next to my computer here unlock, or when I'm in the car unlock, or when I'm at home unlock. So that's probably what I'll do. Okay, Google Now. What's the weather outside? It's also pretty good about understanding what you asked. Okay, Google Now. What's the tip on $115? Oh, that's not going to be able to do that. Yeah, because I have to say what the tip is. Okay, Google Now. What's 20% of $115?
20% of US 115 equals 23 US dollars.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. It was really interesting to watch. So I finally am off this stupid NDA, which was driving me nuts. I felt like I was going to explode. I'm never doing that again. Because the problem is you learn about stuff. Like I learned about stuff about the Moto X outside of the briefing, but you can't say anything because you've been, enjoined. You're not allowed to say anything. So never again. It also, and I think that I apologize because I think based on the fact that I wasn't able to say anything, people presumed that what I wasn't saying was, oh, this is the best phone in history. I've yet to meet the perfect phone. But I think this one is very interesting and probably worth waiting for. I think it's going to be my phone until the next one, which could be as soon as September when Apple releases its next iPhone. We've seen lots of interesting rumors about that. One of which is that the next iPhone will not be the 5S. The current version's 5. And in the last couple of iterations, they did the 3, then the 3G, then the 3GS, the 4, then the 4S, the 5, but no, now they're saying it might be the 5C. What is that going to stand for? I don't know. Is it a clue? Is it a hint? I don't know. We're also going to see in about a month, September 4th, Samsung's going to announce the Galaxy Note 3. I loved the Note 2. Big phone. This will be 5.7 inches. It's huge. Now, this Moto X is 4.7 inches, but it's which is the same size screen as an HTC One, which I think is a very nice phone. But because the bezel on the screen is so small, it's actually smaller than the HTC One. On the other hand, the HTC One has great speakers on the front. That's part of what makes it bigger. This has kind of cheesy, tinny speakers firing out I don't know where. Doesn't seem to be an opening for speaker. Oh, yeah, there's a little one next to the camera. It's going to be an interesting world in the next 6 months. And if you haven't decided what phone is your next phone, good. Wait and see. I think my next phone will be the Moto X, but remember, I always have the latest. I am happy to trade in that Galaxy S4. I think Samsung has really gone down a bad road by adding all sorts of junky features that add to the size of the software and the complexity of the phone without adding to the usability. Motorola, very nicely, I think, with this phone, has made it simple, clean, has some really interesting software features without junking it up. For instance, you don't really need a camera launch button on this thing. You just rotate your wrist twice, and it automatically launches the camera. And it launches it very quickly, by the way. It's the fastest camera I've ever used. It's that kind of thing that doesn't show up in spec sheets, but might make this phone a really desirable phone for people who use camera phones and never can get them launched fast enough. How many times have you missed a picture? Because by the time you get the phone out of your pocket, press the button, launch the thing, and the Galaxy S4 is the worst ever. It's the best. It'll love the camera on the Galaxy S4, but boy, you never get a picture because it's 5 or 6 seconds before you can get the thing out. So there's lots going on. It's very complicated, and that's what I'm here for, to help cut through that. Ask away any question you want. 8888 Ask Leo. I'll give you my everything I know. No, I have no NDAs in effect now. I can tell you anything, and never will again. It was always my policy not to sign one. I foolishly agreed to on this phone because I was asked by a friend, frankly.
And they didn't tell you until you got there, right?
Right. Guy Kawasaki, who people may know his name. He was the first evangelist who worked for Apple in the early days. And I've gotten to know him over the years. Very, very fun, nice, sweet guy. I really like Guy. Sent me an email saying, as a personal favor, would you come to this event? I said, sure. Then it got, then about a day before the event, I got another email from the publicity people who said, oh, and by the way, you're embargoed till August 2nd. Remember, I said embargo is not as strict as an NDA. But then I got to the event and they said, oh, by the way, sign this. Now, I'd already driven all the way down to Google, and I have to admit, they had me. I wanted to see the darn phone. It's funny, the PR people at Google got a little mad at me because, when I got that invitation from Guy, I said, I don't know what it is, but I know we're waiting to hear about a Moto X phone, and Motorola just invited me to Google for an event. They won't tell me what it is. I'm thinking we're going to see the phone July 11th. And then what happened is every mainstream trade press They hate that. So, I hate it when Walt Mossberg gets these phones 2 weeks ahead of time at the Wall Street Journal. Well, Walt Mossberg hated it that I was going to this event and he wasn't. And they called up and they said, are you having an announcement? So Google told Kara Swisher's one of the people from All Things D, very good reporter, a friend of mine. And she called up. She said, wait a minute, why am I not invited? They said, no, we're not announcing the Moto X. Well, it's true they weren't announcing it, but they were going to talk all about it. It was the announcement in advance, but she wrote, and a lot of other people said, no, that event is not about the Moto X. And now I've signed a paper that says I not only can't say that it is, I can't say anything. So for the next 3 weeks, I watched every trade press in the world leaking every detail, some wrongly, some rightly. One of the things that was wrongly leaked, and I think really hurt Motorola, is people guessed that the price would be low. They thought it'd be $350 or $400 for an off-contract phone, and it's the same price as a HTC One or a Galaxy S4 or an iPhone 5. It's about $500 or $600. And when people found out that, they were very disappointed. Disappointed because they believed a rumor that wasn't true. So that's why you want to control that rumor mill. But it's also why I will no longer sign an NDA, because it's just too hard for me. So enough about me. What about you? Who should I talk to first?
Well, if you're up for it, because I love a good fight.
Uh-oh.
Lewis in Hollywood has a challenge for you.
I love it. I'm up for it. Thank you, Heather Hammond. Hello, Lewis. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm great. Welcome.
Leo, on the TWiT network over the last couple of weeks have been some interesting conversations about physical media versus streaming media. And you've been very vocal about your being in favor of the death of physical media.
No, don't mistake me. I am not in favor of anything. I'm reporting that physical media is about to die.
Well, I'd like to challenge that on a couple of issues. And
okay. Remember, you can challenge an opinion.
Yeah.
And that's reasonable, but I'm not expressing an opinion. It is, in fact, the case that physical media is dying. But go ahead.
Well, then let me put it this way: if it is,
you may not like it.
Yeah, if it is dying, then that's a reason to mourn. Because one of the things that made physical media for video great, and this goes all the way back to Laserdisc, was special features.
I agree.
A special edition of a DVD or a Laserdisc special. And there's been talk about the Criterion Collection on Hulu.
Love them. Love the Criterion Collection. But they don't give you the special features.
It's great to see the movie,
right?
But you got nothing else. And
well, okay, let me say, though, that's a transitional thing. You know why they did special features? Because they wanted to fight piracy. Special features are all about getting you to buy the physical media instead of downloading the BitTorrent.
Well,
so
care about
the way they've decided to fight piracy is with streaming, which is more effective. Hang on, we got to take a break. In fact, you can join the conversation because Scott Wilkinson, our home theater expert's up next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Special features will be back to the degree that the movie companies want to make them. They only made them in the past because it kept you from stealing. I'm not saying I don't like physical media. I do. It's just dying. Oh, hello.
Hi. Can you hit mute real quick?
Can I mute? Now I'm under another non-disclosure agreement. Gosh darn it. Why do you do that to me? No, I'm not going to say anything. I don't like non-disclosure agreements.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Why do I look so blown out on your TV?
This
I don't
is
think
TV. I'm just going to change you to a different mode. No problem.
Oh, okay.
You know all about this.
I do.
I'm going to put you in movie mode. Now you look good. Some people need to be in movie mode. Some people need to be in sports mode. Some people need to be in gaming mode.
Oh, I need to be in movie mode.
So you can join this conversation we're having with this guy, because I think if I'll bring him back and we can talk.
Sure. As a matter of fact, that's what I was going to talk about today.
Good. Perfect.
I just posted a news story. I think I got a scoop on the first UHD download over the internet.
Oh, good.
So, a good topic.
And, I have to say, having been around the block a few times, I remember very well when I and others said, oh, well, books are never going away. Nobody's going to want to read an e-book. Who would ever want to read a book on a device? And I love books. That's the original physical media is books, is print. Now, I admit that books aren't going to ever go away.
Right.
But they are not any more than, physical media for movies. Well, it might go away because it's
I don't
technology.
think so.
Well, might go. I'll tell you why it will go away. Because in order for it not to go away, companies have to invest in supporting it and making it. And that's the difference
LPs haven't gone away. LPs are still there. More popular.
I would argue with you on that.
Oh,
What go away? If you say go away, they no longer exist like polio. Okay. If you say go away, they represent less than 1% of the marketplace. That's
Okay.
go away.
Okay, I can understand that. I don't know what percentage.
Nothing's ever going to eliminate anything. In fact, we're finding polio's coming back, but that's a story for another day. Scott Wilkinson is here, and I want to bring Lewis back because Scott and it turns out Scott wanted to talk about this very topic. Scott Wilkinson is our home theater expert, our guru. He's editor at the AVS Forums, and he also hosts the Home Theater Geeks podcast, which is heard every Monday on this Ahir podcast network. So, Lewis, go ahead and give. I didn't want to. I interrupted you, so give me your argument. Why is physical media never going away?
Well, the other conversation that came out. Oh, by the way, Scott, I saw Tuba Christmas in Burbank this last year, and it was absolutely wonderful.
No kidding. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
It was my first one, and it was absolutely terrific.
Well, I hope you come back this year, December 8th.
I will be. The other conversation that came up that got my attention, Leo, was on MacBreak Weekly last week, where Alex Lindsay was really thrilled with the idea of 4K streaming coming along. And I maintain 4K streaming is DOA. There is no way. How much data is used in an hour of 4K streaming video? 50, 100 megabytes, 100 gig, rather?
You sound like one of those guys in the old days, which wasn't so long ago, who said, you'll never see 1080p streaming. In fact, we've seen this argument over and over again. I remember fighting viciously saying books will never die. People will never want to read electronically. And, of course, ebooks are taking off to the point where one has to assume that at some point they're going to take over for publishing. I mean, I'm not saying stuff's going to go away. People still buy LPs, vinyl records. People still, they'll be, for people, connoisseurs, collectors, people who prefer printed medium, there'll be that. And I imagine there'll be some sort of, although it's a little different in the technology world, there'll be some sort of ultra high def physical media for some time. But the problem is, unlike books, which, kind of do not rely on technology to support them. The same, book that was printed 2,000 years ago, you can read today if you can read the language, not printed but written. The problem is Blu-ray. Who's going to make Blu-ray drives in 10 years? No one. So no one's going to make DVD drives in 5 years. So you're reliant on companies to continue supporting it, and companies are making a very simple economic decision.
Well, the problem with 4K streaming media is the stranglehold that the internet service providers have.
Well, that may be the case.
Capacity. And the maximum I can see at a decent price that, the average consumer can have is from a cable company or DSL provider, is 250 to 300 gigabytes. Well, at 4K streaming, I watch 2.5 movies and I'm done for the month. Right. That's it.
That may not be true. We have some big news, actually, this week that I was going to talk about on the show today, which is for the very first time in the month of this month, a company, an internet service provider, not service provider, but content provider called Odamax, downloaded or transferred over the internet a 4K movie, actually Ultra HD. We want to make the distinction. Over the internet to a consumer's house. It was a 23-minute short that occupied 3 gigabytes. Took about an hour and a half to download. Now, this is downloading, not streaming, as you're talking about. And streaming does have the problem of, do you have enough bandwidth in your house? but they used a codec. You've heard of MPEG-2 and H.264. There are a bunch of different ways to compress video. This file was compressed with a codec developed by the company called Red Digital Cinema, the same company that makes the cameras that were used to film The Hobbit, or film is the wrong word, shoot The Hobbit, and a bunch of other movies as well. They were also used to shoot House of Cards, the Netflix original series.
Otomax supports Red's Red Ray player.
Correct. Now, Red also makes what's called the Red Ray player, which is a hard disk-based server that has the ability to output 4K or UHD, which is this ultra high definition video, 4 times the pixel density or pixel resolution of regular HD. And so for the first time ever, they actually beat out Sony. Sony's been talking about this for a long time. Physical media is dead. We're going to be delivering our 4K movies over the internet to our server. But the Sony server only works with Sony TVs. So they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, if you ask me. But Red Ray will work with anything. And Red claims that their codec, their encoder, is extremely efficient and can really cut down the size of the file of a UHD, Ultra HD file, and send it across the internet in a reasonable manner. They claim that this first test, it was a 23-minute film, got down to 3 gigabytes. They say they can get even better now. That was kind of old technology, 2 weeks ago. And they can get a feature-length movie down to 6 gigabytes.
Now, the point to be made, and I think Lewis makes an excellent point, which is internet service providers don't like this, which is one of the reasons, by the way, Google has installed capless gigabit internet in Kansas City, Austin, and Provo, and soon other cities, is to demonstrate it's completely doable with infrastructure. These are business issues. They are not technology issues. And whenever, it's business issues, people get in the way. They roadblock, just as the music industry roadblocked by putting Napster out of business. But eventually they come around. And, it's not a question of tomorrow or next year, but the technology's moving along. The compression's moving along.
Yep.
And eventually internet service providers will follow suit. Because the movie industry wants this. And that's really the most important thing. They see this as anti-piracy.
It's true. Now, another piece of news this week, though, on the physical media front, is that Sony and Panasonic have agreed to develop a 300 gigabyte optical disc.
Wow.
So that
and I think
would allow
people who want maximum quality are going to say, well, just as people who want print books are going to say, well, there's nothing ever going to replace the feel of paper and the smell of ink. There are going to be the people who say, well, nothing will ever replace the quality of Blu-ray or whatever this new
whatever the
4K
format will be.
Technology is.
Right. And they're right.
But you'll pay a price, and I'm just, people don't care as much about quality as you do. And by you, I don't mean you, Scott Wilkinson, but you, those of you who do. People just want convenience. And, I remember the conversations very clearly just a few years ago that 1080p was not doable.
Yeah, could not be streamed.
Could not be streamed. And now on my Chromecast, I'm getting 1080p over the Wi-Fi from Netflix.
Yep.
And it looks great.
That's right.
So it happens. So 300 gigs on a disc.
Yep.
But again, I think these are all short-term solutions, or they'll end up being specialty solutions.
Niche. They're niche. Like LPs.
Like the album is a niche. You can't ever say, I can guarantee you there's no record store coming to a town near you. I mean, I have a record. No, I have an old record store. There's always there's an old hippie down the street.
Right.
They'll sell you vinyl. Actually, they've outlasted the CD stores. There's no nostalgia about CDs.
Right. But there is about vinyl.
There is about vinyl.
And so interesting that there are quite a few audiophile shows that happen around the country all year long, and vinyl is almost experiencing a resurgence. Young people are getting into it. And so, that's
they
a
get into
format.
it. There's different reasons for getting into it. When I look at my daughter getting into vinyl, it's not for audio quality.
True.
It's because she's being a hipster. It's for hipster quality. Scott Wilkinson, avsforum.com. You can follow Home Theater Geeks at twit.tv every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Scotty.
You betcha.
So let's see. Here you go. Here's a stat. Donnie sent this along. According to Nielsen SoundScan, 4.6 million vinyl LPs were sold last year in the U.S. That's an increase of 18%.
Yeah.
The fifth consecutive year of increased vinyl sales, and the highest total since they began tracking records in 1991. 76% were rock albums. So that's interesting though. 4.6 million vinyl LPs, and I wonder. Oh, Jeff is on the board today. Thank you, Jeff. And I wonder how many. The problem is you can't. Nobody's buying LPs anymore, so you can't compare that to digital LPs because who buys digital LPs?
Yeah, they just buy individual songs or groups
tracks.
of songs. Yeah, exactly. William Becker in the chat room is pointing to 8-track, which is a format that did go away completely.
Yeah, cassette and 8-track have been replaced. I don't think you can buy cassettes anymore.
No,
carts are gone. Anyway, go ahead,
Carts.
Scott. I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thank you so much. By the way, Leo, I just wanted to say congratulations on episode number 9.
Number 9? What are you in?
See if you can figure out what that means.
Are you in quadristecimal or what?
No. I'm in binary.
9. You're in binary?
1001.
I get it. I was going the wrong direction.
Pretty obscure there, sorry.
Go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, here I am, chat room. Happy to be here with you and glad to talk to you about anything you like. Yeah, Jim Tez, put a pencil in it and rewind the tape. I remember doing that with cassettes. Absolutely. Wax cylinders are very hard to find. Although you go to an antique store, you can still find player piano rolls. I've seen those in antique stores once in a while. So, that's possible. Clay, Scott, standard D on an HD TV, standard definition. Certainly you can play standard definition on an HD TV. The HD TV will upconvert it. Just like the new UHD, Ultra HD TVs will upconvert HD to UHD, which is 3640 by 2160 pixels. Interesting. Knox Harrington says that there's a record store near him called CD Central that's pretty much transitioned to only selling vinyl. That's pretty cool. Subaru is looking forward to Andrew Jones. Yes, on Monday, this coming Monday, my Home Theater Geeks guest will be Andrew Jones, the renowned speaker designer, really, really an interesting guy, talking about his new soundbar. And I'm also going to ask him about room correction because I know he is more or less opposed to equalization for room correction. HRH the Sioux, I wave hello right back. I see you've changed your on-screen name to befit your station as Her Royal Majesty. And Mick says, I'm sure you still have the knack to snap the tape back into an 8-track cartridge. I never actually had an 8-track cartridge. That was an 8-track player or an 8-track cartridge in my car or anything like that. I think it was probably in the transition period before I actually had a car. So I never had the 8-track. Let's see. Swamp Rat says, I wonder how All in the Family would look upconverted to UHD. Good question. I've wondered the same thing about I Love Lucy or Leave It to Beaver, any of those 50s TV shows. Mario 500, have you ever used VHS tapes recently? No, I have not. In fact, I just threw away a bunch of VHS tapes. I actually archived a bunch of programs. Oh, here we go.
Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure.
The tech guy here to tell you about. Wow, our show brought to you. I gotta mention my good friends. This is good timing at Ting.com. Now I heard a rumor, and this is not official, that Ting will be offering the Moto X phone, and that would be a good way to get it. But let me tell you what Ting is, and then you can check it out. Techguy.ting.com. It's a better phone company. Folks at Two Cows, my good friend Elliot Noss and company, have decided that they want to take their business in a great direction. They want to do a better job of businesses that are historically just not serving customers well. They Hover, their domain naming company, perfect example. And now, of course, what business is more hated by its customers than cell phone service, right? So Ting is changing all that. And I'll tell you, I know a lot of people now who use Ting are thrilled. Ting is reselling. They're an MVNO Sprint service. So if you've got good Sprint service, they're using the same towers, the same equipment. If Sprint works well where you are, Ting is a very good starting place for you. First of all, there's no contract, no early termination fee. You pay month to month. There's no ride-along services, no bundling. You choose what you want, and if you don't use it all, they rebate you. What happens at the beginning of the month? You say, I think I'm gonna use a certain number of minutes, certain amount of data, certain number of text messages. That's what I want to start at. They don't bill you yet. They watch what you do. Then they bill you for what you use. They'll rebate the amount you don't use. They don't penalize you for using more. There's no surprises. No mysterious line items. You can have unlimited devices on a single plan, so it's great for families and small businesses. You literally you can. In fact, let's do it. Let's go here, and I'll just show you. I'll get right. If you go to techguy.ting.com, you can see the whole thing. But if I go to the rates calculator here, let's choose how many phones. Let's say it's a family of 4. That's 4 phones, $24 a month. And that family of 4 is going to have a shared pool of minutes, let's say 1,000. Nobody makes phone calls anymore. We can, again, it doesn't really matter how much, 2,000 text messages is good. Let's get all the data, 3 gigabytes of data. That total right now is $110, not per person, for all 4 of you. What's your cell phone bill for a family of 4? It's got to be more than that. In my case, it's a lot more than that. $110. Now, here's the best part. You use more minutes, they just charge you the difference. You use fewer minutes, they rebate you the difference. It's just very simple. They have a big variety of phones. They have used phones as well as new phones. You can even bring your own eligible Sprint device and make it a Ting device. And right now, when you use our special URL, techguy.ting.com, you'll get $25 off your first device. HTC 8X, Galaxy S4, the Galaxy Nexus, HTC One, they got them all. It is a great service. iPhone's coming soon. I hear the Moto X is coming soon. They have feature phones, too, if you have a kid in the family, doesn't need anything fancy. Ting. Just remember that, T-I-N-G. True pricing. You pay what you need. You don't pay more. No-hold customer support. Excellent online support. techguy.ting.com. You got to try it. You're going to love it. Well, we thank them for their support.
You're tuned to Premier Channel 7. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, will begin at 6 minutes past the hour from Premier Radio Network.
Well, according to Anonymous, I don't think you're right. I think one of the things that Moto has done that keeps us from killing the battery is you can't, any device could listen. Its battery would die in an hour. There's a lot of smarts that goes into the always-on mic.
This is Premier Channel 7. Leo Laporte,
They have a dedicated chip listening. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. It's a good conversation. Interesting conversation. And, I guess it also depends on what time scale you use as to whether physical media is dead. The trend is not positive for physical media. Let's put it that way. Whether it's books, but let's not forget books are physical media. Magazines and newspapers almost completely gone. Well, I should maybe not magazines, but certainly or newspapers. Okay, see, I'm seeing in the future. If you live in the present, you go, what are you talking about? Except for the fact that the publisher of the New York Times said we'll certainly not be printing paper in the next few years. USA Today just about done. How many local papers did New York City, Chicago, and L.A. have just 10 years ago? How many do they have now? It's not good. These are specialty products. Same thing with physical media for music and TV shows and movies, they still are everywhere. But have you noticed what's happening to the DVD store in your town? Is there one? We used to have a CD store in the small town of Petaluma. We used to have a CD. I'm just thinking. I'm sure there was more than one, but I remember a CD store. There was a couple of Blockbusters. There were a couple of. There was a Hollywood Video. They're all gone. There's nowhere you could go in this town and find a DVD for rent except a Redbox out in front of the 7-Eleven. So I think the future is not bright for physical media. And admittedly, we've got some problems to solve before we get there. That's the way technology always is. We've seen it happen so many times before. Moving on to our next call. Todd is on the line from Riverside, California. Hi, Todd. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Pleasure to talk to you. Long-time listener.
Thank you.
First-time caller. I don't know if my comments are... I listen to you every morning. I walk 2 miles every morning, and I listen to your podcast. Okay?
Fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm behind. I'm 2 weeks behind. So I'm going to make a comment, and I hope somebody hasn't made the comment before
you can always. You know what? Because nobody listens all the time, so there's no such thing as old hat here.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I have a 50, because I know you're a big fan of the Pioneer. I have a commercial Pioneer 50-inch plasma that I bought 10 years ago.
Ah, yes.
And that thing's still kicking. I mean, it is. I have Sunday ticket, on the, for the NFL.
Yeah.
And I do 13 games on a Sunday. I'll record them, I'll do everything, and watch half of them. And I also have a 50-inch Panasonic Viera.
Oh, yeah, love the Viera.
Yeah. Now, here's what I did, and it leads up to my comment. 10 years ago, when I bought the Pioneer, I installed the home theater system, and I put the JPL speakers in the ceiling. All right?
Okay.
And I have a 700-watt Yamaha receiver.
Okay.
It's driving everything.
Okay.
And one thing I forgot about was that the master bedroom is directly above it.
I see where you're going with this. You put it in the ceiling of the rec room, but it happened to be the floor of the bedroom. Okay.
So you know what happens.
I've installed a subwoofer in my floor.
So anyway, I was walking through the big box store about 6 months ago, and I heard this sound, and it sounded so good. I'm an ex-bass player. I played for 15 years professionally, so I'm really...
Oh, yeah. Professional musicians have a tough time because you know what it sounds like. Scott Wilkinson is still hanging around, and he's the same thing. In fact, Scott says he rarely listens to recorded music because he's been in the band, and it's hard.
It is really hard. Scott knows. I'm telling you, it's really hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I walked in a big box store, and I heard this sound, and I said, oh, man, that sounds like a 5.1. That's great. The thing is rumbling. It's doing great. So I walk over, and it's a sound bar. And I said, what is that thing?
Wow.
So what it is a Toshiba S as in Sam, B as in boy, X as in X-ray, 4250 K, N as in Nancy. And it's got 6 speakers in the bar. It's got a wireless 6-inch subwoofer that you can put anywhere. It's got Bluetooth. It's got every input that you can put on the thing.
Sounds good. Now, I'll tell you right away that a sound bar with the addition of a subwoofer is getting pretty close to a decent system. It's going to simulate the surround because you don't, of course, have speakers to your side, your left and right and behind you. But it's going. Using the binaural computations that they're able to do now, they can do a pretty good job of making it spatial. But the key to what you just said was it has a subwoofer. Scott wants to pitch in here. I think the subwoofer makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference, and that particular soundbar also has the Sonic Emotion Absolute 3D audio.
Oh, we heard that at CES 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I really liked that.
Yep.
And it's got another nice feature, too, that when it's idle for like more than 5 minutes, it shuts itself off, which is really nice. So all you have to do is shut your TV off. You don't have to even program it to do any of that. And it's 300 watts is what it is.
And it's $300, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, it lists for $399. I bought mine from, matter of fact, I liked it so much that I put it on the Viera. I bought one for the Viera. I bought it on eBay through Beach Audio at $250.
Wow, and I see Best Buy selling it for $300. So it's out there.
It's out there. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm so impressed with it, and it does have the SAF, it does have the spousal
Approval factor,
Yes,
because
very
that's
important.
one of the reasons people get sound bars is you don't have speakers all over the place.
Yeah, and you
That's
can play your
right.
music because it's Bluetooth enabled too. You just hook up your iPhone to it or whatever.
Well, so musician approved. That's pretty good.
Musician approved. I'm telling you, anybody that really wants a sound bar, please go listen to that one. I mean, you will be so impressed. And 300. And I'll tell you one thing: if you live in an apartment, do not buy it because you will get evicted. That thing just.
Well, and also some good advice: do not install speakers in your bedroom floor anymore. either.
Disconnect.
Yeah.
Subwoofer. Leo, I have one more comment.
Sure.
I wanted to tell you because I'm a big fan of yours. I have LastPass, and Steve turned me on to TrueCrypt and ESET, and I got Carbonate and everything. And you did say the other day about Carbonate had a new feature of disk imaging.
Yes.
And I always buy the 3-year contract with them anyway because you get a good discount.
Yes.
But I went in and I talked to them, and they refunded almost all of my 3 years and put it towards the Plus program, the Home Plus.
Awesome.
And I'm really happy with it. So I got it for 3 years. But what is fantastic about it that I didn't know was if you get an external hard drive and you hook it up to your computer,
Yeah.
you can disk image your complete computer with data, and you leave it hooked up all the time.
Right.
And
they do it locally, which is, of course, that was my question, because you can't do a disk image over the internet. That's going to take too
yeah,
long.
exactly.
But that's a nice combination of a physical, on or nearline storage in addition to offline storage. That's a really nice backup solution.
Yeah, I think so, and that's why. And they also told me, well, to get a double, whatever your capacity is. In other words, you have a 1 terabyte hard drive, get a 2 terabyte backup drive, and that way it keeps renewing itself.
Right. It's kind of like Apple's Time Machine. Very similar.
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. But I just wanted to make those two comments.
Thank you, Todd.
Because, and I hope everybody would go listen to that soundbar because if you have any questions, I mean, boy, go listen to it. It will knock you out.
And I'm seeing an open box version of it for sale for $243 at Newegg. So it's very affordable. Scott, you recommended a new Pioneer system that's going to be out soon, right?
End of this month, yeah.
And do you think that will be as good?
I do. I think it will be. It won't have the Sonic Emotion Absolute 3D.
I'm surprised more people
surround.
haven't adopted that. That we thought that sounded very good when we heard it.
We did. Now I've heard a couple of soundbars, not this Toshiba, but a couple from less well-known companies, shall we say, that I don't think implemented it very well. So that may be part of the problem here.
We saw a very cheap one, for instance, from Haier.
It was Kobe,
or Kobe.
It might have been Haier.
I think
it was Kobe.
One of the low price kind of
exactly, and it was quite
brands.
impressive.
But it still sounded great. Yeah,
exactly.
So what is the model that's coming out of the for the Pioneer? So I can make a note of that.
Yeah, it's the SP for speaker dash SB for soundbar, 23, I believe.
SBSP 23.
23W, I think.
W, you're right, yeah.
And it does have a subwoofer, wireless subwoofer with it. And it also has 6 drivers like this Toshiba.
It's probably similar hardware, I would guess.
Well, yes and no. It was designed by Andrew Jones, who's going to be my guest this Monday on the podcast to talk about it. And he is one of the world's premier speaker designers. I mean, he designs $80,000 a pair speakers.
Wow.
So having him bring that expertise down to a $400 soundbar is quite remarkable. And I have heard the Pioneer, and it is really impressive.
All right. Well, people are really interested in soundbars. So there's the soundbar story. Scott Wilkinson, thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More to come right after this. See, it sounds like I want to order that. Hey, Pete, Jeff, I forgot to, did I have an ad there that I didn't do?
No, you're good.
Oh, good, okay. So which should I get, Scott? I can order for $243. I can order this Pioneer Toshiba right now.
The Toshiba, yeah. The Pioneer won't be available till the end of the month. I cannot say that I haven't heard the Toshiba, so I really can't say. You and I have heard the Sonic Emotion technology.
I like that.
It was really good. The Pioneer doesn't even do simulated surround. Andrew Jones said, none of those systems work that well. All I wanted to do was have really high quality sound come from the sound bar.
Interesting.
So he tuned it with DSP. There's several different presets for movies and music and so on. It also has Bluetooth, so you can just throw your music from your phone or whatever to it and play it. It plays really loud with little distortion. All I can say is what I've heard, and I haven't heard the Toshiba. Your caller there, who is also a musician, and I have to respect his sonic judgment on that because musicians tend,
know. Yeah,
they do, and if he says it sounds really good, then it probably does. I may have to get one just to see myself.
I'm just ordering it right now because
it's only a couple $100.
Well, I think for the gym, I have a TV in the gym.
There you go.
I think that'd be a nice kind of thing for.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent.
It's a good price. Now this is open box, but all that means is somebody bought it and returned it. So that's not the end of the world,
No, that's not the end of the world, unless they returned it because they didn't like it.
Well, they didn't like it, but that may also be the case. If they returned it because it was broken, that would be a problem.
Right, but they wouldn't. But
Newegg's a good company.
Yeah. They wouldn't sell a product that was broken. They would check it out and make sure it worked.
Oh, look! This is interesting. I've never seen this before. Since Newegg is a trusted Google store, Google stands behind this purchase with $1,000 of purchase protection at no charge to you.
Excellent.
If you click yes. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That was a good deal. All right.
Jim 4 is asking in the chat room, how do you like the Bose soundbar at $1,500? You actually have one, don't you?
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
It's not going to be better than this at $243.
Right.
What the Bose does is it has a wireless sub, which is nice. Right,
which this does too, and so does the Pioneer.
And it has a head unit that becomes an AV switcher, basically. An AV. It's basically got a no-feature AV receiver built into it, so that you have a unified remote. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But that's a lot to spend, and they've cut the price considerably. It was $2,500.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. So they've cut the price considerably. I think that's just too much.
Still too much.
Yeah.
Still too much.
Well,
the Pioneer
is this soundbar. It sounds good.
I can't wait to hear what you think.
Yeah, and then I can move my Emotivas that I have in that one, powered speakers. I'll move those down to the computer room.
There you go.
There's always somewhere to put speakers. I have lots of speakers.
Yes.
I listen everywhere. Anyway, let me give you the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, so I'm back here for another
back.
5 minutes. Knox Harrington. A Bose products that's too expensive? Impossible. No, sadly, not impossible. Rolando asks, is the Pioneer soundbar 3.1 or 2.1? That's a very good question. I believe the answer is it's 2.1. It does not have a dedicated center channel. It is intended to accept in fact, I'm not 100% sure of that. So I will ask Andrew on Monday, but I'm pretty sure it's a 2.1. It basically is designed to be connected to your TV. It's for those systems that don't have an AV receiver. So in a sense, it's meant to be an AV receiver, but it's not really. What it's intended to do, what it's designed to do is you plug all of your components, your Blu-ray player, your cable or satellite box, your game console, into your TV, into the TV's HDMI inputs. Then you take the TV's optical digital audio output, which virtually all TVs have, and you connect that to the soundbar. So the sound is going through the TV and then back out to the soundbar. Now, the thing about that is virtually all TVs, their digital audio output is only 2-channel. So it is not multi-channel. So the soundbar is only getting a 2-channel signal anyway, and then it's crossing over and sending the low frequencies to the sub. So it really, I'm virtually certain it's a 2.1 system. But I will verify that on Monday. That's a good question. Anyway, let's see. James T. When am I doing my show on quadraphonic sound? Pardon me. Thank goodness for cough switches. I'm still coughing. I mean, I'm fine. My voice is back. Thank goodness. But, I'm told that this cough will hang on for yet weeks to come. Sad to say. Jim 4, what is the Pioneer soundbar? Well, it's a soundbar from Pioneer, designed by Andrew Jones. So, and he's going to be on the show on Monday. So tune in to get all the scoop on that. He's a very interesting guy, too. Very articulate, very urbane. So he's doing really good. High Tech Recce, great name. Have I heard the Golden Ear soundbar? Only at a trade show. I heard it at CEDIA last year, and I expect to hear it at CEDIA this year as well. And from what I heard at CEDIA last year, of course, that's almost a year ago now. Memory fades, but I recall it sounding really, really good. I mean, Sandy Gross is the designer there, and he is also extremely good at designing speakers. So I do expect very good things from that. I would love to get it in my theater and listen to it more carefully. But I expect it to. I recall it sounding really good. I don't remember what its configuration is. I think he was not trying to do simulated surround. Also, PSB makes a really, really good soundbar that also does not try to simulate surround. The companies that are more concerned with quality, with audio quality, are not trying to do simulated surround. So PSB, Golden Ear, Pioneer. Toshiba decided to go with this absolute 3D sound technology, which I've heard sound very good, and I've also heard sound not very good in certain cases. But that is a simulated surround sort of technology that has a lot of potential. Rolando, can I recommend a 3.1 soundbar? I need help hearing the voice dialogue. Very good point. Dialogue is the most important thing in TV shows and movies. And so having a center channel really helps in dialogue intelligibility, as we say. Now, I'm pretty sure the Golden Ear and the PSB are 3.1. So they're expensive. They're probably in $1,000 range or more, but they're both very, very good.
All right, so, Scotty. Thank you.
That's it. My pleasure. See you next week.
See you tomorrow. I mean, Monday.
Oh,
that's going to be...
By the way.
Yes.
Quickly, for the chat room, I'm going to be pre-recording my show for the 19th on Wednesday from 4:30 to 5:30. Come join me.
Oh, good. This Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday,
right,
4:30 to
good.
5:30 Pacific time.
Good. Thank you.
I'm going to be answering questions with Robert Heron.
Oh, good. And it's going to be chat room questions.
Chat room questions.
Oh, that's a great idea with you and Robert. That's great. Thank you.
So please come join us.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
You bet.
Bing, 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 bing. And a good day to you, Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion. If you have a little hand-holding you need done, a little help on the information superhighway. That's what we used to call it. That way back before the internet was everywhere, ubiquitous. So interesting to me now. Well, for instance, I remember when Twitter began. I was a member very early on in the fall or winter of 2006. Didn't really gain traction to the spring of 2007. I actually quit. I joined it and I quit, I think, in January, February, saying this is a waste of time. But rejoined it in the spring of 2007. A woman named Justine said, "Oh, you really have to be on Twitter." I said, "All right, I'll go back." Fortunately, nobody had taken my name, so I took it back. And for a while, I was in a race to be the most followed person on Twitter. I had 5,000 followers, and Kevin and Rose and I were neck and neck. He finally beat me out, the guy who started Dig and most recently threw a raccoon down the stairs. He's going to be famous for that. I got my revenge. Anyway, of course, now having tens of millions of followers on Twitter is completely normal. 6 years later, it's amazing what has changed. The royal birth, the Prince of Cambridge, was announced on Twitter. I mean, yeah, they put the old-fashioned 17th century placard out in front of Buckingham Palace, but then they tweeted it. The Pope is tweeting, not just saying things on Twitter, he's giving people indulgences, papal indulgences on Twitter. What? The guys who created Twitter must be just blown away. That's a real success story. The irony, of course, is they still haven't figured out how to make any money on it. The way they make money is by raising money, by getting investors and just, pocketing some of the cash as it comes in, because it's hard to figure out how to make money on it. But we're starting to see things change. And that's one of the big changes you're seeing. Facebook, for the first time, and it's just really bumped the Facebook stock up, has started to show some real revenue from mobile. Yahoo, which bought Tumblr a few months ago, reported that Tumblr is starting to, much of Tumblr's traffic, almost half now, is mobile. And they're putting ads in mobile. In fact, they're better. Tumblr's better at putting ads in mobile than they are on the desktop, because you use your dashboard more in Tumblr mobile than you do on the desktop. So this transition is happening, and it's happening very fast. We were talking about transitions last hour from physical to online media. Well, there's a similar transition that's happening from desktop computing to mobile computing. And more, I think, the future is going to be in your pocket. When I've been doing this so long now, I've seen a few things like this happen. For a long time, I refused to cover cell phones. This was back when it was Motorola flip phones and razors and things like that. The first generation razors. I said, that's not interesting. You can't do anything with that. I cover computers. I was a little bit of a snob. Then the iPhone came out. Start with the BlackBerry, but then in 2007 when the iPhone came out, everything changed. And now the most interesting stuff being done is now being done in your pocket. As an example, we were talking last hour about the Moto X. This is using a technology that Google did demonstrate at Google I/O on the desktop, but it's come first on mobile. That is the always on, always listening technology. When my Moto X is sitting right in front of me, this is a phone that's going to be available on all the carriers in the next few weeks. Rumored to be August 23rd for Verizon. I would guess it's AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and U.S. Cellular all around the same time, sometime in the month of August. But the phone's just sitting there, apparently off. Although if I pick it up, it does this little kind of breathing thing where it shows the time and any notifications I have. Without turning on the whole screen, it just turns on a small portion of the screen. But the most interesting thing is when I say, okay, Google now, it wakes up and I say, what's Google's stock price today? Actually, it got the wake up and I say, so we'll do that again. Let me go back. Okay, Google now. Yeah, this is the problem. They demonstrated this on the desktop. It was very cool. Okay, Google now. How tall is Yao Ming?
Yao Ming is 7 feet 6 inches tall.
That's interesting. Who is he married to? Oh, I got to say, okay, Google now. Right? I got triggered. That way, otherwise, it would get everything I'm saying right now. Okay, Google now. Who is he married to?
Yao Ming's spouse is Yi Li since 2007.
Now, so it got the answer right, but notice I did something kind of odd. I didn't say who is Yao Ming married to. I said who is he married to? And it remembered my last search was how tall is Yao Ming. And it figured when I said he, it referred back. Now, Google did demonstrate that technology on the desktop at Google I/O. It still isn't available in Chrome except for some early beta testers. But it's in this new phone, this new Moto X phone. And that kind of contextual understanding of what you're talking about, don't you think that's kind of interesting? It makes it more like a person. I can ask follow-up questions. Now, one of the problems with this that I have is it's hard to remember what it can and cannot do. So I might, for instance, ask, okay, Google now, who does he play for? And I don't know if it will understand that or not. Yeah, see, it doesn't. Who does he play for comes up as a web search. Now, I don't know if that's That's the problem with all of this. The result is unpredictable. I guess humans are unpredictable. I mean, I might not get quite the result I thought if I asked those 3 questions to a human, but at least a human would kind of get that those are related. It's a computer. We got a long way to go from a computer intelligence to real intelligence. Nevertheless, I think this is a huge and very interesting step forward. That thing in your pocket or sitting next to you on the car seat or on your desk can respond to queries. Not just simple queries, but even complicated queries that refer to the previous query. This is stuff that's happening in mobile that is not even happening in desktops yet. You can, of course, do the obvious things like ask it what the weather is, what time it is, how do I get to somewhere, and it'll give you directions, that kind of thing. So the things you typically do, it's pretty good at. You can even say, play some music for me. It's a very interesting idea. And I love it that companies are starting to do the innovation in a new space, in the mobile space. Because really, isn't that how we do 90% of our computing now? You may still have a desktop or a laptop computer. You may sit down at that keyboard frequently. I'm sitting at a keyboard and a laptop computer right now, but most of the time I'm moving around, and it's the tablet, whether it's the iPad or the Nexus 7. It's the phone, whether it's the iPhone or the Moto X or the Galaxy S4 or the HTC One. Those are the things that are doing the work these days. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go. We got, is it Gammy in Los Angeles? Hi, is it Gammy? Hi, Gammy.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well.
First-time caller. Really enjoy your show. Learned a lot for the past 3 years. My question is, my father-in-law, who's here, who immigrated here to the United States from Iran, went back about 4 years ago to kind of take some of his property and get his retirement. But what they're requiring him to do now is either appear in person so they can continue to distribute his retirement, or using Yahoo with a webcam. My concern
hang on a little bit, and we'll talk about it. We have to take a break, but right after these commercials. Don't go anywhere. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's interesting. Yahoo. That's a little backward. Does Yahoo Messenger still do video? I don't know. All right, let's try this. Okay, Google now. Who is Leo Laporte?
According to Wikipedia, Leo Gordon Laporte is an Emmy Award-winning American technology broadcaster, author, and entrepreneur.
Boom. That's kind of neat, isn't it? And I'm holding it up only so you can hear it because I'm putting it next to the microphone. But I could leave it on the desk, not touch it, and say, "Okay, Google now, who is Dr. Dean Adele?" Oh, it doesn't read his. It only shows it. It did look it up, but it didn't read it. I don't know what the rule is for who gets read and who doesn't, but it clearly knew who it was. It might be that it's related to the Wikipedia. Well, see, there he has a Wikipedia entry. I don't know. Should I try it with a Scottish accent? Okay, Google now. See, that's what you train it. So you have to, if I say it in a strange voice, it won't get it. But now you could train it. Okay, Google now. Okay, Google now. Okay, Google now. Who am I? Does no... Okay, this is funny. This is very Siri-like. You see what it came up with? Amnesia treatments. A useful search. What? Give me a useful search. I'll try one. Oh, I was going to try to change it and I didn't, but I will try to change it. I don't know if that's an Easter egg. I don't know what that is. Okay, Google now. What is the meaning of life? Yeah, it actually looks up the meaning of life. Okay, Google now. What is 6,472 times 25?
The answer is 161,800.
That's pretty good. Okay, Google now. Who is Sarah Lane? That doesn't read her name either. I wonder why it reads mine. Okay, Google now. How long is the Golden Gate Bridge?
Golden Gate Bridge has a length of 8,980 feet.
Okay, Google now. How tall is it?
I found 2 matches.
Oh, that it heard tall as call.
Susan Beebe.
By the way, yeah, you can make calls that way. I don't know if it'll do. Okay, Google now. Tell me a joke. See, Siri will tell you a joke. Now, see, it just does a search on that. But no, admittedly, a lot of this is silly, but to have it there and to be able to do a quick web search or calculation without picking it up or touching it, I think that's valuable. We'll see. You can trigger navigation. Okay, Google now. How do I get to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? Here's the map, and then I can choose from the map, get directions. It gave me 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Richmond, California. That's good. That's the nearest one. So you can also do get me walking directions. You can do a lot of those things. Yeah, don't ask about pressure cookers. Did you see that? Just terrible. Ambient sound does not interfere in this case. It was very good with ambient sound rejection. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. We were talking to Gammy in Los Angeles. Gammy, an interesting conundrum. So in order to pick up your dad to pick up his payments in Iran, he either has to make a personal appearance or make a video call via Yahoo. Is that what it is?
A Yahoo Messenger with a webcam. And this is just to make sure that he's still alive and they can continue to distribute into his account in Iran, and his family members can have access to it.
And completely understandable. In fact, I'm kind of impressed that they will let you do it via the internet.
Yeah, and what my concern was a security one. I mean, can they, through Yahoo, download software that they can monitor your computer from home? Is it safe to do it on a PC versus a Mac? Do you have any insight on that?
Well, you should always assume that any messenger product, whether it's Yahoo Messenger, Skype, or anything like it, is not private.
Okay.
So when you're doing something on the internet, you're doing it in public. And at the very least, you're doing it for the U.S. federal government, if not for anybody else.
Which brings up another concern, because what they'll do on an annual basis, that they'll give him a password so his family can access his account. So if it's a public, I'm kind of concerned that somebody else may pick up the password or something.
Well, I think you're safe in that regard. That's completely reasonable. Don't do it at a open Wi-Fi access spot. Do it at home on a wired thing. And yes, people at Yahoo can probably observe it. The U.S. federal government is almost certainly collecting it. I think there's no doubt in anybody's mind at this point that the United States government illegally collects all electronic transactions, especially if it's to Iran. It's getting collected, especially. But as it turns out, you don't even have to be a foreign national or talking out internationally.
That's true.
So you can assume that, but they don't want your password. But they may, and you should be aware of what he says on that call. They may be interested in your dad as a result.
Correct. That is correct.
But that's what they demand, and I think, if your dad is circumspect, and they'll probably ask him to further identify himself with a document that he holds up to the camera or something like that, I would guess.
Yeah, when you went back 2 years ago, he did set something up, so they do have a photo of him. They do have some security questions, which they'll probably verify over Yahoo.
Yeah, and those transactions, you should assume that they could be monitored by somebody nefarious. including the U.S. government. But if you do it on a wired connection at home or a secured wireless connection at home, it's not too likely. You're probably fine.
Fantastic. Well, appreciate your answer.
What an interesting question, Gemi. Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
All right, take care. You might ask, oh, come on, really? Until you read this article in the Guardian, which has really, this is a British newspaper that has really been in the forefront of exposing this stuff, about a New York woman, a New York family, who was visited by police after researching pressure cookers online. You remember the Boston bombers used pressure cookers to make their bombs. She was not calling international phone numbers. She wasn't really doing much at all except searching for pressure cookers. Her husband searched for backpacks, and her son spent a lot of time reading about the Boston bombings on their internet browser. She was visited at her home by 6 police investigators. They were polite. They looked around kind of cursorily. They didn't do a massive search, and they left. They said, we do this all the time. He had her name. They knew what they had been doing online. When she asked about this, they said, oh, we do hundreds of these a week. Most of the time they don't come up, with anything, but we just do it on a regular basis. Now, you might say, oh, well, this is good. They were polite. They didn't shoot anybody. Thank goodness. It wasn't they didn't do a massive search. They went walked around the living room, studied the books on the shelf, looked at all our pictures, she said, glanced into our bedroom. They pet the dogs. They asked if they could go into my son's bedroom, but when my husband said my son was sleeping, they said, all right. They were reasonable. Once they got in there, they realized, these aren't terrorists. And they left. But the point is, and I'm surprised that we're not seeing more about this, very clear that this benign family's web searches were being monitored by law enforcement. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, this is illegal search and seizure. Now, the government doesn't feel that way. The government feels like your electronic transmissions are an open book, and they should be able to look at it. So I'm saying this not to make a value judgment on it, although I obviously have a value judgment on it. Some will say, you know what, this is not an unreasonable thing to do if we're really trying to prevent future Boston bombings. And, I have to say, I don't want to see another Boston bombing or anything like it, so I can't say that's a bad thing. The only point I'm making is that you should not assume that what you do on the internet is not being observed at all times. At all times. And that, one hopes that the people on the other end of the observation, since they're anonymous, we don't know who they are, we don't know how well trained they are, or even if they work for the government, because apparently a lot of contractors are used by the government for this kind of stuff. We hope that they are reasonable people and don't send a SWAT team to investigate with guns drawn. And so, for her experience, it was pretty benign. But do not assume that what you're doing on the internet is not in public. Because it is. We know that. In fact, another slide released from the Edward Snowden cache of slides by The Guardian proved, in fact, if you believe the slides, and I do, that the federal government is collecting our U.S. government is illegally collecting all electronic transactions at all times and storing them. Whether or not you are contacting foreign nationals, as they have said. They say, oh, no, you have to be calling somebody overseas. No. And who knows what would have happened if this family had said, no, we want to see your search warrant. Maybe they would have just walked away. Maybe not. Or maybe they would have gone to get a search warrant. But they're watching. And if you're an Iranian national making video calls to Iran, I could almost guarantee you that video call is being monitored. '8888 ask Leo. Steve's on the line from Morgan Hill, our next caller. Hi, Steve. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Okay. So I record videos of swimmers, and I'm analyzing them using some software. It's HD video, and I'm trying to take that analysis and record along with the screen recording onto a DVD.
This is sort of for training purposes. You say, your stroke is a little shallow here, or things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, hang on the line. I got to take a break, but you have teased the next section because you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Obama vetoed the iPhone ban. That's great. So the International Trade Commission ruled that Apple had violated Samsung patents and banned the iPad 2 and the iPhone 4. That ban was going to go in effect tomorrow. And the only thing that could overturn it was a presidential pardon. And apparently Obama, not having anything else to do. It's Johnny Jet time.
It's Obama's birthday tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they keep sending me, because I contributed to his campaign, they keep sending me emails saying, don't you want to celebrate his birthday, his 52nd? No.
The sign the card thing.
I ain't signing no cards to Mr. Obama. I'm very disappointed.
I feel really bad, but I'm holding firm as well.
He has not done a good job. He's been. I am thrilled by what he's done for health.
Yeah.
Insurance. While it wasn't enough, it was probably the most anyone could get in the face of insurance companies. But he persists with the immoral drone bombing that is actually causing terrorism, frankly. And this NSA, and
then the drug war.
Well, and he's also got a war on journalism, because investigative journalists are now at great risk of being prosecuted under the Espionage Act. And I don't think you can have a free society if you don't have a free fourth estate.
I really want to like you.
I know. I'm very disappointed. I gave him a lot of money for his campaign. I really supported him. I was very hopeful that he would be a progressive. And he's been a progressive in some things, but in others he's not.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. Police explain the investigation was prompted by searches by a family member had made for pressure cooker bombs and backpacks at his workplace. The employer alerted police. The family member was not her husband. It was some other guy. I don't know who it was. An uncle?
Someone else was mentioning in the chat room, and I was a little curious too, what your thoughts on the CBS Time Warner thing.
Well, that's a tough one, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we should talk about it.
Understand that.
That's a very tough one. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, it's dinosaurs fighting.
Well, right. Per the first call. And
so stay well away from the dinosaurs. You don't want to get squished.
Anyway, let's talk about something pleasant.
Something uplifting, like Johnny Jad. Hey, Johnny.
Johnny's always
Aloha.
Johnny's a good liberal. I know he is.
Not one of those bad ones.
It's funny because Johnny, like most of us bleeding heart liberals, is careful about what he says. But every once in a while, something leaks out.
You got to be careful.
You have to be careful. What a world, huh?
That's right. But
and then CBS turns around and blocks CBS.com, which is really screwed up.
What?
Oh, actually, Will, this is a good story. I'll talk.
Oh, that is.
So, what do you want to talk about, Johnny?
I just thought we could do like a little random mix of things.
Oh, so in other words, you're unprepared? No.
Basically.
She said it.
No, I wrote down 5 things.
Bill Handel always used to say that. He used to say, "What's coming up on the show tomorrow, Leo?" And I said, "I have no idea." He said, "Oh, you didn't prepare, huh?"
Well, we can talk about anything you want, but I have 5 things that we can mention.
Good deal. Here we go. Johnny Jet is here. He's our travel guru. Man who travels more than 150,000 miles a year in search of the best deals online, the best places to go. Hey, Johnny.
How you doing, Leo?
JohnnyJet.com is his website, at JohnnyJet. Johnny was up here. It was so fun. We're thinking we're going to do a travel show, travel tech show with Johnny. And one of our great chatters, F and Dunn, Jason, just sent me a sketch up for what your set should look like. And he said it's going to look, we're going to go to the old airline graveyard. Apparently there's a place you can go with there's like old airline stuff. We're going to get a couple of rows of seats. We're going to build like in the movies. We're going to build you a set. Get a curved, 747
let's do it
section, and it's going to look like we're on a plane. Every once in a while, let's shake it. Hey, Johnny.
No one likes it when it shakes.
Where are you? Are you back home? I know you were going to Connecticut the last time we talked.
I was. You know what? Actually, last week when I talked to you, I was just landed in JFK. I ran and jumped on the train, which, by the way, is a very good point. You got to pack light. So when I land, I don't check a bag. So
Smart.
I can go right to the air train at JFK, jump on the subway. It cost me $7.50 to get into the city. Don't have to wait in traffic. It took an hour, and then I jumped on the train to Connecticut for another $11, and that took an hour.
I've often thought of doing that, but you do have to. You take a train from JFK to Queens or somewhere, and then you have to take
Jamaica Station,
and then you transfer, right? And you have to get on the subway.
You do. It's confusing, and
that's what's always stopped me.
You go to Asia and you go to Europe, and all these airports are state of the art. And you can just jump on the train right there and go to the city center.
Biggest airport in the world, and we haven't got a great way to get in the city from there.
Well, that's Atlanta and Chicago. O'Hare is about to take over that.
Oh, really?
Biggest airport title.
Interesting. So Johnny said he's a potpourri of stuff for you. Travel Lights, definitely a good one.
I did fly to Toronto a couple days ago on an airline you probably never heard of.
Okay.
Any guesses?
Not Air Canada. I don't know.
It's the third largest airline in Canada, Porter Airlines.
I never heard of them.
And it amazes me that no one's heard of these guys.
Porter, huh?
So if you're flying out of Newark or Boston or D.C., Chicago or Myrtle Beach, it's seasonal, or Burlington, Vermont, same thing. This is a great airline. They fly Q400s. And if you buy it in advance, you can get really good deals. But if last minute, they're not so good. But what I love about Porter and everyone else is that they have an airline lounge that everyone's invited to. Free Wi-Fi.
You don't have to be
drinks.
flying on Porter?
You have to be flying on
but
Porter.
You don't have to be business class.
You don't have to be there's no business class. There's one class, and you don't have to be an airline club member. So no one knows these guys.
Know who's never going to fly Porter? Kevin Rose. Their mascots are raccoon.
Why you don't like raccoons?
No, it's a long story. He doesn't like raccoons.
All right. So anyway,
okay, Porter. That's a good one. I like it.
Next time you're there. And
they're
then,
at flyporter.com.
And then last night.
Actually, can I ask you a question?
Sure, please.
A number of my favorite airlines, Southwest, Flyporter, and Virgin, are not on like Orbitz, Expedia, any of these search engines.
Well, Southwest is not.
Southwest isn't. Is Virgin?
No. Virgin is.
Is,
sure.
Okay. So it's a little frustrating because it means I have to go other places. Is there one search that will find everything?
Southwest has really done a good job of keeping their flights off of them. They've fought all kinds of battles. So you do have to go to southwest.com, if you want to check all the sites. If you want to check every different airline, because you will not get it on, Kayak or anything else. You used to be able to get it on momondo.com, but I don't think you can do that anymore.
Johnny Jet has a booking tool on his site, johnnyjet.com,
and Southwest will not show up.
That does everybody. 6 windows, Expedia, Priceline, TripAdvisor, everybody.
But Southwest.
Except Southwest, because you can't.
Can't. But, so you just got to go to southwest.com. And Southwest used to always be the cheapest airline. Now they're not. But they do offer 2 free check bags, which...
that's kind of nice.
Check bags is great, and they have very flexible policy to change your ticket, which I love.
So it's just Southwest? I thought it was others. So it's just Southwest. That's not so bad.
No.
All right.
Also, last night I flew American Airlines, and I got on the plane, and I always bring boxes of chocolates for the gate agents and the flight attendants. Actually, I didn't get them for the gate agent last night.
Big boxes, little boxes?
No. Actually, last night I went to Walmart, and I got some Reese's peanut butter cups. And the flight attendant looks at me and they're like, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah." And they're like, and the other flight attendant goes to me, "Who taught you how to travel?"
Oh, so they like it.
Oh my God, they love it. I honestly
Who taught you how to travel, Johnny Jet?
I felt bad because all the other passengers were looking at us like, "Who's this guy?"
He must really like flight attendants.
They treat you like royalty, and you just
Wow.
got to be nice to them.
Wow.
So that I can't. That is the best tip. Just be genuinely nice to the flight attendants, and they were awesome. They really were. At the end, the guy's like, "You want a bottle of champagne to take home?" I'm like, "No, I'm all right."
Wow.
So
That's a good trade. Reese's peanut butter cups for champagne. I'd do it.
I mean, they're not going to do it every time, but if you're cool and they have extra champagne, they'll do it.
You bring it to the gate agents too, because those are the people who can give you a little upgrade or
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But last night I was running a little bit late and I already got upgraded.
So, but nice. What would you say? There's always at SFO. There's a little C's stand right before you go to the gate. Is it one of the little like samplers? Is that a good choice, or do you want to give them a 1 pound
anything?
heart?
Anything? No. You can buy anything. Anything. I buy them Hershey Kisses sometimes.
Anything, just a little thing.
I learned this from my ex-girlfriend who was a flight attendant, and she taught me all these different little tricks.
Flight attendants like a little something sweet.
They like a little love.
A little love. I'm gonna do that. Bribery's okay. You're being a nice person. It's not.
And by the way, I was into FoxNews.com this week. They interviewed me about bribery because some passenger offered another passenger $100 to change his seat.
Well, that's okay.
And I said, they're like, is
that's
that
called capitalism.
I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you really need to sit with someone, what's wrong with saying, hey, I'll give you $20 or $100?
Start low. Don't start at 100.
Well, the guy started at 100, and the guy said no.
And he said no. Yeah, because you're insulted now. Now you're insulted. It's like,
well,
what?
He wanted to sit with his family, and he was in first class, so it's a whole nother story.
Oh.
But I just got home, and guess what I had in my...
somebody's got a Nokia Lumia 1020. This is the new 41 megapixel camera phone.
Have you tried it?
I have not. What do you think?
I just got it, so I was playing with it this morning. I was watching a little Netflix on there, and the camera is just amazing.
I've seen a number of my fellow tech journalists have it, and I've been very impressed by the pictures.
I need some more time to give you a full report.
Paul Thurrott, who does our Windows Weekly show, Mary Jo Foley, both have them and love them. Andy Anako's been reviewing it from our Mac Break Weekly show. He loves it. The problem I have with it is you got to use Windows Phone.
I like Windows, but they don't have all the apps. As you know, when we had the dinner last week, you guys are all playing these games, and I couldn't play it because it didn't have that one.
Yeah, that's the only thing that kills me. If they put Android on it, I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
So I'll let you know how it goes. But what I love about it is I don't have to carry my big Nikon around. Like I'm going away again today.
Good pictures. Where are you going?
I can't tell you. But I'm not bringing a big camera. And my last...
Can I sign an NDA to get no, never mind. Go ahead.
My last big piece of news is Delta Airlines announced they're going to launch L.A.-San Francisco shuttle starting September 3rd.
Oh, that's good.
So every hour starting at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday.
That's Southwest territory. They've owned that corridor.
And United. There's going to be some serious bonus mile opportunities, I'm sure. But what I like about Delta is you can check in as close as 30 minutes prior to departure. And they're gonna offer free beer and wine.
I love competition is the best thing ever, isn't it?
And it's going to be Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, too.
Oh, that's a little local brewery. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and Wente Wines. I never heard of Wente, but it must be.
Wente's okay. Not great. It's okay. It's free.
It's free. And newspapers.
JohnnyJet.com. He's at JohnnyJet on the Twitter. Follow him there. And I suppose at some point when you get to your secret destination, your fortress of solitude, you will tweet out where you are.
I'm driving. Nowhere special.
Okay.
I mean, it's special, but not that
special. All right. Hey, Johnny Jet, always a pleasure. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. There's a couple of people responded to last week's Q&A. Said, you should. What did this? Some people said, I can't remember what it was now, but people were responding to it. It was fun.
Did they
you
like
ever?
it?
Yeah. Oh, I love doing it.
Because you know what? Last week was the first week in a long time that I forgot to sign up to the chat room because I go back and see if there's any questions for me, and I can get a sense if people like the segment or not.
I thought it was, no. I think people enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think we should do that.
Can we send you a new pair of headphones? By the way,
please. I just took them out of my bag and go, oh God, I forgot.
Email. Would you do me a favor? Email john@twit.tv. And send him a mailing address, a physical mailing address, and we will send you the standards that we use at our cost. We'll FedEx them.
I
feel bad. You have to hold it.
I only use them for you, but...
Well, what we'll do is, you know what I'll have John do is send you like 3 or 4 So you can have one at Natalie's, one at your place.
Beautiful.
And then you don't have to bring the. And then you can have one to pack.
One at the airport.
And one at the airport. Okay, Johnny.
All right, Leo.
Thanks. Take
Thanks,
care.
man.
All righty. Good job. See ya.
Thanks.
It was nice. He came up for our little party on the 24th. It was nice to see him. Global. It's called Global Entry, CR1. Global Entry. Yeah, we'll we normally use the Plantronics dot audios, and I think they do make a foldable one, which we'll send him.
It's more than a conference call. I can see you. You can see me with crystal clear HD video, face to face, just like meeting in person. Easily launch and join a
If John, the problem we would set up if Johnny were always at home, we would absolutely set him up with the Heil mic and all that stuff. But he gets around, so we could. You know what? We will send him a Logitech camera, though. That's a good idea. If they don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. Oh, that's so funny. Hi, Dragon. Yeah, can you believe it? Oh, man, this CBS Time Warner thing. Cheemanly, luminally, demonly do. Let me see. I don't know what the current... So I think the dot audio 650, I believe, but let me see. Any of these is fine. What you want, though, the key is not to get analog. So I think this is our current choice. And we'll send them one of these, but I think they also make a folding one. But, you know, you can't go wrong for $28. These are excellent. The quality's very good. And they're comfy and all that. One of these is folding. I know. I'm not sure which one. Oh, what is this? These are new. The 995s. Oh, it's wireless. So you don't want wireless because Bluetooth will reduce the quality. You want wired USB. And we've had good results with the 655s. I love my Nexus 7. I wish it did the, okay, Google now. It's still listening. I can't talk. It stopped listening finally. It's kind of amazing. No hands. Okay, Google now. Stop listening to me. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go back to Steve in Morgan Hill. He was the guy I was talking to, right? Yeah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. A lot of people in the chat room asking me to comment on this CBS Time Warner kerfuffle. This is not the first time we've seen it. We've seen it happen with Dish and Viacom, remember, and so forth. Time Warner Cable, Time Warner is a cable company, carries CBS local television in many of its markets. CBS went to Time Warner, said, we want more money. Time Warner says CBS asked for a 600% increase. We don't know, of course. And Time Warner said no and dropped CBS in New York, L.A., and Dallas, and several other markets as well. That's the #1 primetime network. So Time Warner figured this will be a great way to squeeze CBS, and at some point they'll capitulate. We'll get a better deal. And Time Warner can reasonably say, hey, it's so expensive, we'd have to pass this along to you, our consumer. We're trying to save you money. 3 million customers subscribe to Time Warner in those markets. They also took off CBS's owned cable network, Showtime, the movie channel Flicks, and Smithsonian. Showtime would be the one I'd miss. CBS says, we deeply regret this ill-advised action, which is injurious not only to our many affected viewers, but also to Time Warner Cable itself. Time Warner said, CBS has refused to have a productive discussion. You know, this is dinosaurs fighting, kids. Here's the comment. Here's my thought. You know, there's no obvious winner in this. They're all losers, including the customers who can't see CBS. This is dinosaurs fighting. The future of TV, movies, music, and so forth is the internet. You know what CBS did, by the way? They started blocking Time Warner internet customers from CBS.com because reasoning, well, we're not going to let them watch our shows on internet. It's just dinosaurs fighting. My advice for anybody when dinosaurs fight is get out of the way because you don't want to get stepped on. Let them fight. They're all going down. It's sad, isn't it? It's sad. And I don't know who to blame. Maybe CBS did ask for 600% more. But the problem is it doesn't matter because the people who are punished by this are Time Warner customers in New York, Dallas, and L.A. That's who gets punished. Time Warner, yeah, very famously, is the company that said, no, nobody wants gigabit Ethernet. Internet, nobody wants that. No market for that. Anyway, we were talking, I apologize, Steve. We were talking to Steve in Morgan Hill, and I interrupted you for Johnny Jet, but you're back, and I thank you for your patience. What can I do for you?
Okay, so I'm recording swimmers in HD video.
Ah, yes. And I love this. Do you have an underwater camera?
Yeah, I got a good one.
Neat. And do you do it in slow motion, too, so they can see every detail of the stroke?
I can slow it down when I'm analyzing it.
That's awesome.
I've got some software to do that.
And do you telestrate it? How do you deliver it to them? You circle their elbow and say, see that?
Yeah, they have tools like that. They have lines and arrows and circles, and they have this thing like a flashlight that you can create a circle, and it dims around the circle, so it kind of highlights.
Oh. What is they? Is this software?
Yeah, that's software. It's free.
What's it called?
It's called Kinovea.
K-I-N-O?
B-E-A.
B-E-A. Kinovea. Wow.
Yeah.
Or V-E-A. Oh, and it's free. Yeah. It's open source.
Yeah.
Wow. A microscope for your videos. Kinovea.org. Oh, that's neat. Oh, that's really cool.
It is really cool.
What a tool for a coach.
Yeah, I'd pay for it, but it's free. So
neat. So what can I do for you?
So I'm trying to record. What I'd ultimately like to do is take this, put it on a laptop, and then show what I'm doing to a client, and then do like a screen recording along with the audio and put it on the DVD. And so I've tried some software to do the screen recording, and I've had kind of mixed results.
Right.
So I'm looking for something that will.
So you want to have a full frame of the swimmer with the highlighted details, and then you want to have a little inset picture-in-picture of you.
Right. So I've tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried Cam Studio, which.
Camtasia. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was it, and the video turned out choppy, and then I tried Fraps, and it was better, but it's kind of clunky.
Right. Fraps is a program a lot of gamers use to record their game footage. Camtasia is also. Is there a Mac or a PC?
I'd be happy to do it on either, but I prefer the PC.
Okay. I've used. The issue, what you probably should do to get the best results is record yourself with a recorder as you are. Same way you can even use the same camera you used to get the swimmers. And then use video editing software then to do the picture-in-picture after the fact. It's going to be more work for you. The two programs you're using, what you're doing is playing back the video on the screen and then recording your video on top of it in a screen capture mode. And I've used on the Mac a program from Telestream that does this. It's, I think would give you the best result called ScreenFlow. It's Macintosh only. And it does exactly that. It allows you to put picture-in-picture. It's hard to do this because video is taking up a lot of the processor speed. It may be simply that your computer doesn't have enough horsepower to do both the recording of the video and the playback of the other video. That's why the best way to do it would be to record on the camera your video and then use video editing. But you want to show yourself, Anna. You want to say, you want to be like John Madden. You want to have a picture of you in the thing and say, see this, boom, pow, look at that. That kind of thing?
No, what I want to be able to do is, like on the laptop, bring up the, the analysis software.
Right.
Have the client sitting right there and say, okay, this is what's going on. And while I'm doing all that, record it so that I can put it on.
Leave it for them.
Yeah.
I get it. So you do need to do it in real time. You don't want to spend a lot of time putting this together. You want to do it in real time.
Yeah, it's going to be quicker too. I want to be able to do this all in one session and then, burn a DVD while I go back to the pool with them and give it to them at the end of the session.
This is wonderful. Adobe Connect will do this. It's expensive though on Windows. I wonder if they offer a free trial. That's what you want because you really want to try this before you spend the money on it. Yeah, 30-day trial for Adobe Connect.
How much is that?
I'm not sure how much it is, but I would try it for free anyway, and just to see if it can do what you want it to do. The issue may merely be that you're doing this on a laptop. Obviously, it just doesn't have enough horsepower to do it at the same time as it's playing back the video. Yeah, it's a lot of work. That program, that's doing the telestrating is working hard.
Yeah, I got a pretty good PC. I built one based off of.
Oh, all right.
To you, I built a pretty good one. It was fun.
I would say try. Fraps I know is hard to use, but that's designed to coexist with very demanding software, video games.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the Mac, ScreenFlow has worked very well for me. There's a trial of that. Adobe Connect is Windows and Mac, and I think that is a good thing to try before you buy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some solutions. A number of people say Camtasia should be able to do it. The stuttering is what's an issue, and that's simply the machine saying, I can't keep up with all of this stuff. I'm recording video, I'm playing back video, you're telestrating. That's a lot of work, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
As you might imagine. I don't know what the right one is for this. That's a great idea, boy. If and when you solve it, you got to call us back and tell you the best way to do it. Here's another solution. The chat room's good on this, called XSplit at xsplit.com. Let me look at that and see. So it's this is something kind of what we do here at our podcast network, where we'll do picture-in-picture with a switcher. So you'll see very often if you're watching one of our shows and I'm showing a video or a screen, we will offset the video and then put my picture, a little picture of me in there. Exactly what you want to do in real time. But that's being done by a video switcher. And XSplit is like a simple version of that, software-only version of that. VidBlaster and the other programs are similar programs would do the same thing. They allow you to do picture-in-picture. Again, it's going to come down to the hardware's capability. That's really it. I love this idea, though. So you'll go to a client. You'll say, "All right, let me show you what you're doing wrong here." You'll shoot the video of you teaching them, and you say, "And here's a DVD for your later study." I love that. What a great idea. Coaching's come a long way. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, our show, briefly, before we continue on, is brought to you by our good friends at Gazelle.com. One of the great things about technology is it's always changing, always improving, and yet you're often stuck with the old thing that isn't improved. See some new phones you want, new tablets, new computers, new screens? Gazelle is here to save your bacon. GAZELLE.com. They will buy your old stuff. They buy a much broader range of tablets than they used to, because there's a lot of tablets out there right now. Now you can get them to buy Samsung, Google Nexus, Kindle Fire, Microsoft Surface, and Asus tablets, as well as, of course, the iPads. They buy phones from a variety of manufacturers, MacBooks, Macs, anything that holds its value well, Gazelle's interested in. They'll give you top dollar for it. They'll wipe your data, and you get a check, a PayPal credit, or, and this is my pro tip, get a Amazon credit, and they'll bump it up 5%. They kind of rebate the affiliate fee over to you. GAZELLE.com. Now, here's the deal. We know new iPhones are coming. Maybe you're saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to buy it or not. Go there anyway and get a quote on your old iPhone because that quote's good for 30 days. And I can promise you it's not going up in value. Look at that, $310 for a 32 gig iPhone 5. That's a great deal. That's going to pay for your next iPhone. Now, they even pay the shipping on anything worth more than $1. So go ahead and get all those gadgets together. Gather them all. Why let that, it's cash in your pocket. Let that stuff gather dust. You're throwing money away. Old iPods, old MacBooks, iMacs, and other stuff. GAZELLE, gazelle.com. Getting an S4, they'll buy your S3. Getting a Galaxy Note 3, they'll buy your S4. There's always something new, and Gazelle's there to buy it from you, the old stuff. Why let it gather dust when you can make some good money? Gazelle's paid $100 million to over 500,000 customers over the last few years. You could be one of them. GAZELLE.com. That's a good question. I like the HTC One a lot. The camera is better on the HTC One. It's the same size screen. The HTC One has a higher, much higher resolution, but I would argue this has 316 dots. What is it? 313 dots per inch is well over 300. I would argue that at 313 dots per inch, you're not going to. It's Retina. In fact, it's only 10 pixels per inch lower than the iPhone 5. What I do like about this, and I should have brought the HTC One, I'll bring it tomorrow, is this is smaller in the hand. I really like, the battery life is much better than the HTC One. I had to root the HTC One and put Greenify on it to get anywhere near decent battery life. Didn't have to do any of that with the Moto X. The Moto X is very much a pure Google experience. If I show you, what, this is the AT&T version, and now, I've put a different launcher on here, so it's going to look a little bit different. But there are only like 4 or 5 programs that are bundled on here that are not stock. This is the Motorola Assist, which is actually quite good. It does have a Motorola calendar, which looks just like Google Calendar, but I disabled it, put Google Calendar in there. There's only 2 AT&T programs on here. There's My ATT, and there's Visual Voicemail. You can disable it. There are a couple of Motorola. There's a migration app, Migrate, and the Assist. And that's it. The rest of it is stock. It's very much, you don't have to change the launcher for you to see the difference here, but I'll do that. I used Nova Launcher. When I do the review, I'll go back to the stock launcher. But it's a very pure Google experience. I mean, it's snappy as heck. I mean, you don't at all feel like it's slow or that the screen is too low a resolution. It's 802.11 AC, so I have an AC router at home, the Apple AC router, and this is in fact I have the pictures here somewhere. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Where's my gallery? I don't normally use this launcher. I can't find it. I always put Nova Launcher on all my Android phones. Although Nova, I do it because it makes it more stock. This is the Wi-Fi. Oh, no, that's battery. Here's the Wi-Fi speed test. On 53 megabits down, 12 megabits up. So we're getting, it's as fast as the HTC One, faster than the Galaxy S4 on AC. Watch this. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, episode 1001 of the Tech Nye Show. Phone number 8888. Ask Leo if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, or if you've heard something and you think you can help somebody out, help a brother out, that's fine. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. We're on 180 stations nationwide, and No matter where you are, you can call us toll-free. If you're listening on the internet, just use Skype or some other solution, and we get a lot of calls from all around the world, which is nice. Our website is techguylabs.com. And if you go there, you'll get a link to our great chat room. Always fun to be part of the kids in the back of the class. 8888 Ask Leo, techguylabs.com. Back to the phones we go. Heather Hammond, you've been screening them all. You're selecting them for quality.
Hand-plucked.
You're inspector number 9.
At the peak of their...
perfection.
Something.
They're ripe. They're delicious. Who should I talk to?
Joe in San Diego has a great question.
All right. Ripe, delicious Joe. Thanks, Heather. Leo Laporte.
Yeah, hi, Leo. This is Joe.
Good to talk to you. What can I do for you?
Good to talk to you. Hey, listen, Leo, I'm in big trouble with my wife. I need some help.
Oh, I'm here to save you, sir.
Okay. Actually, I was in double trouble, and one of your callers actually solved one of the problems. I had the same situation with the speakers underneath the master bedroom. I've got
You mean more than one person has done this? So just to explain to people just tuning in, we had a caller earlier in the show who installed speakers in his ceiling, not realizing that his ceiling of his living room was the floor of his bedroom. And you did the same thing.
Exactly. The master bedroom, and my wife's upstairs, and she goes bananas. And as soon as I finish the call with you, I'm going to Best Buy to get one of those Toshiba sound bars.
It sounds good. Yeah, for $250.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer.
Very good. Well, here's my other issue that's really got me in big trouble. My wife needed to upgrade her cell phone, and she's with Verizon, and she wanted a smartphone at the time. And at the time, financially, we were in a little bit bad, hard shape. So
yeah, and these are very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said to her, I said, well, we're going to renew. And she said, well, went to the Verizon store, and she said, what can I get for free? And they said, we can give you this great Motorola flip phone.
It's free.
It's free. And so she signed a 2-year contract. She got the Motorola flip phone. Then what happened? Six months later, and during that time, I got myself an iPhone 5. She got herself a BlackBerry through her company, which she can't use for personal use. She has a Samsung Galaxy from her company, which she can't use for personal use. And now she's stuck with that Motorola flip phone. And
and this really underscores something that I just don't understand. The cost of the phone, the money you give them up front, is usually no more than 10% of the actual cost.
Yeah.
That free phone over a period of 2 years is going to cost you a lot more than free,
yeah.
right? It's the monthly fees. I don't know if it's $30 a month, 40, 50 on a data phone, a smartphone. It could be as much as $80 or $90 a month.
Exactly. So actually, what I wanted to do was I wanted to help her out because she wanted to get on Instagram and do some other stuff.
Oh, neat. That's great.
So I wanted to say, well, what should I get her? An iPod, an iPad, one of those Nexus 7?
Okay. If you got her an iPod Touch, if she's in a Wi-Fi range,
yes,
at work and at home, an iPod Touch is exactly an iPhone minus the phone, and minus the monthly data fees. You just use the Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
Actually, any smartphone you could use that way, but why pay for the phone if you're not going to use it? But you said you had a Galaxy. Now you probably can use the Galaxy that way.
No, she's got it for work.
Oh, and they won't let her do it that way.
They won't let her do it. So
you know what you might want to look at? $229.
Okay.
The Nexus 7.
Okay.
That's less than an iPod Touch. It's a 7-inch screen, very high resolution.
Uh-huh.
It's a fabulous device. It's, I think, arguably better than the iPad Mini.
Uh-huh.
More than $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
And you get it from Google. You could get it in a couple of days. Go to play.google.com. I think big box stores like the Best Buy are selling it as well. The Nexus 7. Okay. Now, that's going to be bigger than iPod Touch, but it's because it's a tablet.
Correct.
If she wants something she can throw in her pocket, not so good. But it has a 5-megapixel camera on it, better than the iPod Touch.
Yeah.
It has Android, and it sounds like she's had some experience with Android, so she's not going to be too uncomfortable. And it works great on Wi-Fi. It even has GPS built into it, which the iPad does not. The Wi-Fi iPad does not.
Yeah, but with GPS, how would that work?
Well, you'd have to have a hotspot for it. Now, your phone can be turned into a hotspot in all likelihood.
Right.
So if you're in the car, she could navigate using her Nexus 7 using your data.
Right, yeah. That might be. That's right. That's a good way to. I forgot about it because I learned that from one of your previous shows about making my phone a hotspot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I really think the Nexus 7 is an amazing device for $229. The reason Google can do this, same reason Amazon charges so little for its Kindle HD, they don't need to make money on the hardware. They're going to make money when you use it.
Correct. Okay, good.
Apple has to make money on the hardware, so that's the $100 difference right there.
Gotcha. So, yeah, because right now she's paying on this Motorola flip phone for another year and a half, on it. And
she's frustrated.
Very much
She
so.
has seen the future, and she wants to live in it.
Exactly. And and she sees me with the iPhone 5, and then she pops open her flip phone, And
You know what? Get her the Nexus 7, and
Okay.
then you're going to be jealous of her.
I think, I'll do that.
Apparently Amazon has it now for, according to James DeRuvo, our show notes guy, for $186. Now, that's probably, James, the old Nexus 7. Make sure you get the 2013 Nexus 7. It has a very high resolution, beautiful display.
Okay, we will do that. So I've got two projects. I get me a Nexus 7 and get me a sound bar, and
You're set. And your wife, yes, you will not be sleeping on the couch, I promise.
Exactly.
Hey, nice to talk to you.
I sure do appreciate it. Thank
All right,
you.
Robert, anytime. 8888 Ask Leo. I love this Nexus 7. Don't get last year's, because the last year's Nexus 7 was, it was good for for the price. In fact, it blew me away for the price. But a year's gone by, and Google has very much improved the quality of this. Added a camera, a 5-megapixel camera to the back. It's a very credible camera. And the display resolution is stunning. It's a full HD display that is so crisp, so beautiful. It does wireless charging too, so you really want to be the nice guy. I bought an Anker, Anker. It's on Amazon. Qi charger, little pad that when I'm going to bed, I put it in my bedroom. I plop the Nexus 7 down on it. Don't have to plug in any cables. It charges up. Just pick it up when I'm done. People are pointing out, absolutely true. The Nexus 7, if you pre-download the maps, you don't need any internet connection. And now Google Maps on Android will let you. So if you know where you're going ahead of time, download the entire, where was he? He was in L.A. Download the entire L.A. area maps before you leave the house. You don't even need a hotspot. You just head on out. And that GPS works. It's a heck of a good deal. Heck of a good deal. Robert, York, South Carolina, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Robert.
Yeah, this is about third or fourth time call in the last couple of years.
Good.
I heard you say the other day that you had a Droid X.
Way back when. I actually lent it to my girlfriend who promptly lost it in a cab.
Right, okay. Well, we picked up one for my wife because she lost her. She didn't lose it. The phone went bad. Her HTC Incredible.
Yeah.
And we did get the CM9 or something on there, CM10. And,
you're one of them, huh?
Yeah, she got so used. Well, I didn't do it. Somebody else did it for me.
Okay. So what I should explain what that means. You rooted the phone so that you could put different firmware on it instead of using the stock firmware that's shipped by Motorola with Motorola Blur and all of that, using a modded ROM, cyanogen mod, that is beautiful and gives you the latest version of Android in a pure form. It's great.
Yeah, so what happened was I can't get a hold of the guy that did it for us, so now I'm kind of stuck to look for somebody else. But I wanted to know, they both had Gingerbread, of course, the old Incredible and this Droid X.
Yeah.
And I heard you say you had one. What did you do with yours, and can you give me some advice on what ROM to get? And
I will. Hang on just a sec. We'll talk about this. All right, good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This is actually a good question because you can buy this now for $50 from Verizon, and if you mod it and you put a good ROM on it, you probably get it pretty much up to the future, or the present anyway. Okay, Google now, how do I mod a Droid X? Now that'll just do a web search, obviously, because it probably doesn't know off the top of its head. Yeah, here you go, Droid X mods. Ooh, Droid X actually self-destructs if you try to mod it. He's already, whoever did it, obviously figured out how to unlock the bootloader. Here's stable releases from Cyanogen Mod for Droid X. be fun if I could do that. Okay, Google now. What's for lunch? I don't think it will. I don't know if it'll know. Yeah, it does a search. If I were in Burlingame School District, I would now have the school lunches for Burlingame. That's probably the closest place it could find. It does know where you are, so it, for instance, if I go, okay, Google now, what's the weather?
It's 76 degrees.
Ooh, I must have touched a screen. Let's put it down. Okay, Google now, what's the weather?
It's 76 degrees and partly cloudy in Petaluma.
It knows where you are, and so obviously it looks up the temperature. What else would you like? Oh, I should retrain it. Let's see if I can retrain it. So we now know you go to settings, touchless control, train launch phrase, re-record. Okay, Moto X. Yeah, see, it really wants you to say Google now. It has some idea what that should look like. Okay, Moto. Hello, Moto. No, it really wants okay, Google now. Okay, Google now. Now I've really confused it. Okay, Google now. Okay, Google now. Okay, Google now. So now I've trained it. So you really do have to do okay, Google now. Okay, Google now. Help me. Be really nice if you could record something else, right? So this gives you some help about what you could do. You can make phone calls. Place a call to Fraser. Get directions. Show me how to get to the downtown library. Or show me the route to the Space Needle. Or biking directions to Golden Gate Park. That's a good one. Or how do I get to the Museum of Modern Art? Walking directions to Rainbow Grocery. You can send text messages. It will read you. Oh, this is kind of nice, too. Let me show you the... and this is why I don't consider this bloatware. This is Motorola Assist. So it has special functions for driving, meeting, and sleeping. Driving, I can say, read text messages and tell me who's calling. I can also, and this is really good, if somebody calls, I can quick reply, I'm driving and we'll get back to you soon. Pretty awesome, right? Resume music play. I don't know what that means. I guess after I see. After it talks to me, it'll resume music play. In meetings, it can be. I used to use Tasker and Locale for this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. We were talking to Robert in York, South Carolina. He's got an old Droid X. And yes. It's a couple of years old, but it was a nice phone. I like the screen. Yep. The way to keep an old smartphone alive is very similar to the way to keep an old computer alive. You update the operating system. Right. And the place to go, you had somebody do it, which was clever, but that guy's taken off. Right. So what he must have done is rooted the phone. That is, tell the phone, okay, I'm boss. Phones don't come that way. But once you've done it, and in Droid X's case, he actually had to have some sophisticated skills to do it because I believe it had a locked bootloader, which means he had to unlock the bootloader and root the phone. But now that's done, so you don't have to do it again. So what I would do is go to the Play Store, play.google.com, and download a free program called Clockwork Mod. And it's called ROM Manager. It's from Clockwork Mod. It's called ROM Manager. There's a paid version, but you can, in fact, I would pay for the paid version. It's only a couple of bucks. It will show you, it knows what phone you're on. It will show you what ROMs you can install.
Oh. And
it will even do it for you. Because the hard work is getting it unlocked and putting rooting it and putting I'm going to presume that he put a custom recovery on there.
Well, see, the Incredible was the one that went bad, and that's the one we're not using anymore. Now I bought this Droid X. This is the second. This is the one I want to do the same thing to.
Oh, I see. So he didn't do it yet to that one.
No. It's still got that Verizon.
So what you need, yeah, I know. So what you need to do is learn how to do what he did to the other one. And the best way to do it is to go to xda-developers.com.
Yeah, well, I actually been doing that, but while I was waiting for you to come on, I found some guys in locally around here that I could call like they do it.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to get your advice on, before I talk to them, what did you do with yours? Did you, put a different ROM on yours, or did you just suffer with gingerbread like my wife is?
Well, if I still had it, it would long ago have been modified. Since it was lost in a cab, I didn't have to. But as the example is all the other old Android phones, absolutely. As soon as I moved to the new Android phone, I root and mod the old one. I want to keep it, when I'm reviewing it and when I'm using it for the show to talk about it, I want to keep it pretty stock. But as soon as it's on the back burner, I root it and immediately try other mods. I use it as a test bed. In fact, I even did that with my HTC One, which is a very popular current phone, maybe the nicest Android phone on the market. I didn't like the battery life I was getting. So one of the things I did almost immediately is root it, unlock the bootloader. Fortunately, HTC legitimately allows you to do that. It's very simple. They have a developer's site where you can enter in a code, and it will give you an unlock key. You unlock the bootloader, then it's easy to root it. And at that point, I tried different ROMs on it to see which one I liked the best. And I have, in fact, been able to improve the battery life considerably after rooting it. There are apps that you can use, like Greenify, that make a very big difference. So XDA Developers is the place to go. If you Google XDA, you'll find it. Go to their forums. Sometimes the instructions there are extremely complex. If you're uncomfortable, be careful, because, it is possible to make that unusable, make that phone unusable. So you got to follow those instructions very, very, very carefully. But if there's somebody in town who does it, it shouldn't cost too much. It wouldn't take them more than 15 minutes to do. Don't pay them more than $50 to do it. Maybe let them do it and let them take the chance. If they've done it a few times, it's probably the safest thing to do. Austin and Balmer. Hi, Austin. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Let me just say I'm so happy to be talking with you.
Thanks.
I listened to podcasts since October, and when I found the Twit Network, I was hooked. I start my day off with listening to Tech News Today every morning, and I really appreciate all the hard work you all do.
If you could see me now, you'd know I'm beaming. Thank you. It's very kind of you.
The question I have for you, I have an unlimited data plan with Verizon, and I have had that for 2 years. I'm with my in-laws' small business. They're the ones that have been paying for it.
Yeah.
And I want to keep that unlimited data plan, but I'm moving on to a new job. And I want to know if there's any way for me to transfer, for me to start taking over that plan so I don't lose that.
You'd have to ask Verizon. I don't think so. They don't want you to be on an unlimited data plan. So,
right.
they would so they take any excuse to get you off of it. So I think you're going to have to talk them into it. But now here's a little insider advice. All these companies have data retention experts, or customer retention experts. Those are the tech support people whose job it is to make sure they don't lose you as a customer. And you could take advantage of that. Not always, but sometimes you could take advantage of that by calling them up, saying, hey, here's the story. Tell them the story you just told me and say, look, I don't want to leave Verizon. But if I can't get an unlimited data plan from you, I know I can get it from Sprint or T-Mobile. So unless you can make me a deal to keep my unlimited data plan out, you're going to lose me as a customer, and see what they do. See what they do. That's what you hope. Riddler tells me AT&T does have an ability, and I bet you Verizon does too. In fact, I bet you it's regulatory. They've mandated it, that you can transfer responsibility for bills from a business to yourself. You should ask them about that. But since you're an individual and this is a business plan, that may not actually apply. But ask them, call them up and ask them. But remember, they want to keep you as a customer. They're jonesing on that $80 a month. They want that $80 a month. And so you can always use that by saying, look, I'd like to stay, but I see the other guy across the street has a better plan. I'm thinking of moving. What can you do for me? Don't threaten them. Don't blackmail them. You don't want to get the rep upset, and you don't want to get them to the position where they say, well, they're fine. Leave then. But if you're nice and say, is there any way you can help me? Sometimes they will. They want to keep you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I want to keep you. I will do everything I can to keep you. But first, a word from Heather Harmon. We should have a hints from Heather section.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Heather
Hang on a
helps you.
second.
No, you can talk to Doug. I'm just listening. People don't ever get to hear you relate to the... They don't ever get to hear you relate, so I'm going to let them listen to you take calls.
What? You weren't just doing that now, were you?
No. No, I just turned on. So,
I mean, it's okay.
Would that
I'm
be a
an
bad
open
thing?
book,
You don't want me to do that?
No. I'm an open book, but
I didn't hear the previous one. But okay, I'll be honest with you.
What?
I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
So I thought you could entertain the troops.
Yeah, I'll try. I just well, so now.
But continue doing your job.
Yeah, Doug in Huntington Beach is kind of interesting.
Oh, good.
So it's your call, but obviously,
I will. I'll go to him next. But you're on.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay, I'm going to take this other call. The tech guy, what's your question or comment for Leo? Wait, slow down. I can't understand you. Just start at the top. Oh, that's a great idea. Sorry, you're at the what right now? Yeah. And what's your name? Kenny. And you're calling from? From where? Okay. How about a city? Okay. I'll just say LA. All right, Kenny. That's great. Good question. Hang on a second. Ba-ba-ba-ba. You still on the line, Daryl? You are? Well, just think. People have held for much longer than you have, so. But if you want to wait, that's great. Okay, thanks. Ba-ba-ba. In LA. Do-do-do. You still there, Braden? Okay, wonderful. Thanks. Hang on a second. You still on the line, Robert? Great. Thank you. Hang on.
This is fun watching you work. I'm going to do this more often.
What?
I'm going to do this more often.
Go to the bathroom, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll do this every hour. I think we should watch you.
Do what?
We should watch you work. It's good.
Oh, yeah. It's
behind
if you
the
like watching paint dry.
No, it's behind the scenes. People like seeing behind the scenes.
That's true.
They like to know how it works.
Exactly. I forgot who said it, but I think it was somebody in the chat room. They just said, wow, what other talk show host has like a live streaming chat room?
No, it's really
going on?
cool. Actually, many do, but I'll
Really?
take credit for it.
Well, you're just...
Yeah,
probably
Imus used to
started
do it, and a lot of people do it. Imus still does it.
Imus did it?
Yeah, and they would show them reading the paper in between, and I don't think they'd show the call screener. I don't know if anybody shows the call
reading
screener.
The paper on the can in between.
Practically, you feel like it.
Bummer. Oh, Steve is referring back to the flip phone guy. I don't know if you want to do that.
Should I do Steve before I do Doug?
Yes. Steve will be really quick.
Actually,
I'll make sure he's still there.
I'm going to talk about my grief next.
Okay.
I'm in grieving.
You're still on the line, right, Steve? Wonderful, thanks.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm a little, I don't know if you could tell, Heather, that I'm a little, do I seem like a little low energy, a little sad? I am. I'm in grief.
Leo,
I lost my Springfield. Shut up. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The whole thing?
Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? You do know. So there's this game. Electronic Arts does this game on the iPad and Android called The Simpsons Tapped Out. You've seen me. I've, whenever I have a moment, like during the show, I play it.
You're tapping out.
I'm tapping out, so to speak. So the idea of The Simpsons Tapped Out is it's one of those games. It's kind of like Farmville. There's a whole category of these games. They're not really. You're not shoot. I like it because it's like low stress. You're not shooting anything. You're not like. There's no clock ticking.
You're not backing your car over a prostitute.
You're not doing anything. Yeah, no carjacking involved. You're just. So what happens is it's based on the Simpsons TV show, kind of like that, right? Homer has blown up the town of Springfield, with his intention at the nuclear plant, and you have to rebuild it. So I started playing it over almost a year ago. It was September of last year. I started playing it, and over time, I have built a very large town. Now, this is what they call a freemium game, and this is the hottest thing in gaming now. Game developers realize that cheapskates like me won't pay a penny for a game, but once we're in the game and hooked, we'll pay hundreds of dollars just to keep playing. So The Simpsons Tapped Out is free. You can download it on but my warning, don't, and I'll tell you why. You can download it on Android, or you can download it on iOS. You add friends, they come visit your town. You go, it's just like Farmville. You get the premium characters, Krusty the Clown, Homer, Bart, Lisa. All the characters are in it. But there's some things you can't do unless you have donuts. Donuts. And if you don't have donuts, you can never do it. Now you get donuts. They give you little dribbles of donuts, like a donut every time you get another level or something. But the Springfield sign, the Springfield has like a Hollywood sign, only it says Springfield. The Springfield sign, which does nothing for you, costs like 120 donuts. You'll never get enough donuts to buy the Springfield sign unless you fork over some cold, hard American cash. So you can play the game free, but it's not quite as fun as if you give them some money and you buy donuts. Well, it's my great shame, and I'm admitting this in public for the first time ever, and I probably should have sought help. This is a game. Understand, a game on an iPad. I have spent $300 over the last 9 months on donuts. I know. You're shocked, aren't you? This shows extremely poor sense. Do not get in. Never, ever download this game. Never play this game. It has addicted me. And it's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I'm just going, do you know what you could have bought at Tiffany with that?
Not much. Maybe a lighter, a plated lighter.
Not much, but still. Or shoes. Or...
A pair of Laporte. That's it. But not even that. One shoe. I could have bought one Manolo Blahnik, not both. So it's not, it's $300 is a lot. It's ridiculous. In fact, Electronic Arts in their quarterly report said they've made more money on The Simpsons than they do on most of their $60 console games. They say a small fraction of players, me, small fraction of players ever buy donuts, but those who do buy a lot.
Oh,
they made $10 million in June on donuts. $50 million over the life of the game. But apparently they've invested $0 in the game itself. The game crashes. It's unreliable. I've gone on the forums and seen many, many people whose Springfield has just disappeared into the thin air. Well, it finally happened to me. After having built not only the most elaborate Springfield ever, because $300 in donuts, you get a lot of stuff. I also built Krusty Land.
Oh, sweet. So wait, Carbonite doesn't have a copy or something?
You can't back it up because it's only on Electronic Arts servers. And a couple of days ago, my Springfield didn't disappear. It started crashing. It doesn't just crash all of my devices, Android or iOS. If you visit my Springfield, it will crash your device too. There's something I've done that has made a bad Springfield So I asked my friends, to come visit my Springfield. I'm Chief Twit. You can't because I can't get into it. But if you were a friend, go visit Chief Twit Springfield. But warning, it will crash your game. So I've sent a note to Electronic Arts saying, hey, they say good luck. I haven't heard anything back from them in days. But so I have to say, I went through a moment. What are the 7 stages of grief? Yeah. First, denial, anger. I've gone through them all. I'm finally here. I'm at acceptance. Because you know what? I'm never giving them another dime. That's it. Now, in fact, my recommendation to you, to the million people listening to this show, never, ever, 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 ever play an Electronic Arts game because they don't care. They don't care. They really don't.
It's humiliation and heartbreak.
It's just, you're in for heartbreak. 300. I mean, I've wasted so much. It's not the $300, by the way. That's the least of it. At least 15, 20 minutes a day for the last 9 months.
Oh, my God.
Now, you might say, well, what if you had your Springfield? Is that any better? No, it's still stupid. It was at least soothing. It was a nice game because it calmed me.
Right. Think of what you saved on therapy bills.
It was like gardening.
Right.
Although, as Jennifer used to say, if you were gardening, at least you'd have a tomato.
A vegetable at the end of the day. Right? Oh, man. I am really sorry.
So they got my $300. I got bupkis, but I have revenge because I'm now telling each and every one of you, if you know what's good for you, never ever 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 play an Electronic Arts game. That's The Sims. That's anything because they will break your heart.
Thanks for that lesson, Uncle Lee.
Learn from my mistake. Now, you said, Heather, I should talk to whom?
Steve in Tennessee briefly.
I can do it. I have the technology. Steve in Tennessee, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Quick, fast. Hey, the gentleman was calling about his wife's flip phone.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but you can find honest people on Craigslist that are selling their older smartphones. And if they're honest, they will meet you at the store to show you that it's a clean ESN, and she can actually put that on her account.
That's a good point. That's a good idea. Now Craigslist is a little risky because you are dealing with a private individual. I might also point you to eBay. One of our advertisers, Gazelle, you might have heard of them, buys old phones. But what they do is they recondition them, they're a legitimate company, and then sell them on eBay. So if you go to eBay and look for the Gazelle store, that's where all of the old traded-in phones for Gazelle go. So, and that you're safe. So that's a very good point. Buy a used phone.
Correct.
What a great idea. Thank you, Steve.
That's all I had to say. Leo, you have a good one. Have a great weekend.
You too. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Doug in Huntington Beach, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Doug. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Doug.
Hi, Leo.
How are you?
For taking my call.
I'm very glad to. Thanks for calling.
All right. Here's what happened. I was subscribing to DSL Extreme, and I was happy with their service and paying my bills. And then I moved to a different building in my apartment complex. At the new building, they didn't have the right copper wiring installed, okay? I wanted to keep their service, but I couldn't, right? They didn't have the wires installed.
Right.
So I was outraged when they still charged me the cancellation fee.
Well, all right. You send me an email, and I will connect you with DSL Extreme. But understand, it's not their fault. They're at the mercy of the apartment complex.
If you're running a small business, you can't operate at anything less than full speed. That's why you need
the Simpsons game is free to play, but of course, if you want to do anything fun, you need to buy donuts. My mistake. I should have known because the game crashes all the time. It was so poorly done. So my mistake. But yeah, visit. Okay, so if you're one of my friends, I have 100 friends. I can't add obviously any more or take any away. And I will get it fixed. DTLA guy, we'll get them connected with DSL Extreme, and they'll drop the charge. It's often the case that just they drop the charge, but the tech support, the phone support people don't know what the rules are or whatever. But if you visit Chief Twit, if you're already my friend and you visit Chief Twit, I guarantee you it will force close your Simpsons Tapped Out. The good news is it doesn't hurt you. So you can go visit it just to validate what's wrong, because both Liz and Lisa have done that, and it force closes the game. And they've pushed out updates, and it still doesn't. So Nexus 7 was awesome. In fact, I practically bought the Nexus 7 to play Simpsons Tapped Out. Becky, yeah, Becky's my friend. I know EA sucks, but I should never have. I liked The Simpsons. It wasn't EA. It was The Simpsons I liked. Yeah, see, Wabbit Magic. See, I am now a Typhoid Annie. I should actually thank them. I no longer have that Jones. No, EA's horrible. What they did with the Sims, SimCity. The SimCity launch was horrible. I bought that too. Yes, I sent a crash report. I bet I hear from him now. I didn't hear from him yet, but I bet I hear from him now. Not that I mind. I just don't want to play the game. Oh, Hobbit game? Ooh, where is it? Yeah, I played We Rule for a long time, too. I'm sorry, Jew. I stopped playing that. No, I'm looking for a good game. What I like is a game that is just, it was fun. I thought it was a beautiful Springfield. It was so pretty. I was very proud of it. Stupid me. On the the HTC One, I actually use something called Insert Coin, which is a modded Sense, because I really believe Sense is the right way to go on the HTC One. I might take up gardening. Well, I'm boycotting him now. Defense Witches and Siege Heroes. Is that iOS or Android? See, the Nexus 7 is a great game machine. Actually, what's really good is Prince of Persia. It's really fun. Oh, hi, Dick.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I didn't see you there lurking over my shoulder.
That's okay. I'm a lurker.
All right, Jurassic Park, I'll try. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Dick DeBartolo and I are doing the hand jive to this. I love it. We must be old hippies. Waning moments of the Tech Guy Show. Jeff, do I have an ad here for this? Carbonite. All right, we'll do that right after we talk to the world's funniest man. Where is he? Oh, hey, it's Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, and the Gizwiz, the world's funniest man.
Really?
Well, one of them.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot of funniest men. Dick is not only a writer for Mad Magazine for many decades, but is, of course, a crazy gadget hound. And every week he brings us a crazy gadget.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those crazy gadgets I bought because it was cheap and I had no use for it.
Perfect.
Today, do you ever do that?
Well, I don't know. What do you think about the Oreo dippers? That was kind of a crazy gadget that I had no use for.
Yeah.
A special hook you put in an Oreo cookie so you can dip it into milk without getting your fingers wet.
Yeah, okay. There's a need for that.
What do you got?
Well, first of all, I just like gadgets with long names. So and cheap, okay? So when I saw the micro USB OTG 3-port hub with smart stand with smartphone stand,
I already bought 2 of them.
Oh, okay. I thought all right, I need this.
Just the name alone. I'm going to buy 3.
Yes, and it's $10. It's from,
in that case, how many donuts is that?
Oh, okay. It's usb.brando.com. So this is what it is. It's for on-the-go devices like the Samsung, the Galaxy 3 and 4. I'm using mine on the Galaxy 4. So it has a little micro USB. Plug it in, and now you suddenly have 3 standard USB hubs that will interact with your phone.
That's kind of cool.
So for playing with it, I hooked up a keyboard, I hooked up a flash drive, and then I'm getting a new cable box Monday, and so I'm copying off dozens of old TCM movies I didn't get a chance to watch yet. And I usually put them on a flash drive and then watch them in my computer. And I suddenly thought, wait a minute, with my little $10 stand hub, I can now take a flash drive with me and watch movies also on my Galaxy 4. I'll just plug this little guy in and then plug the hub in there. And I tried it with, the only thing I had handy when it first came was a USB press kit on a flash drive. And I plugged it in, all the photos of the press kit, all the documents came up. It's real easy. There's no software, nothing.
This is pretty low tech, though. I see that they have actually 3 different ways you can use it as a stand. You can put your phone in it horizontally for watching movies, vertically, or you could just lie it right on this thing, and that's another form.
Know, that's kind of funny. The slant design.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we did that on purpose. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I know. The guy laid it down and said, "Where's the thing?" And the guy said, "Oh, your phone's lying on it." And he goes, "Oh, another option,
third option."
Exactly.
But now you do have to have a phone that supports USB OTG, which stands for on the go. All the Galaxies do. A lot of Android devices do. But check first to make sure your phone or tablet will.
Yeah, exactly.
My Nexus 7 will be great on this. It's perfect.
Yep. USB.brando.com.
You could use it with a mouse, with a keyboard.
Yeah. Keyboard, mouse. Not a hard drive.
No. If you plug the hard drive into the wall, it would work.
Oh, well, if you had it powered separately.
Right.
Yeah.
Does not charge over that, I don't think, but it does at least give you the data connection. So that's kind of cool.
It's kind of fun. Yeah. Kind of fun.
And at $10, what the heck?
Yeah, exactly.
USB.brando.com. They sell a lot of USB stuff.
They have all kinds of.
Have you bought stuff from them before? I mean,
yeah, I have.
Okay.
I have. This is like my 3rd gadget from them.
It
takes a bit to get. I think they ship directly from Hong Kong.
They probably are a Chinese company.
Well, it took like 2 weeks.
Wow, look at all these silly things.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Dick is, of course, on the web himself at gizwiz.biz. Yes, that's a website, gizwiz.biz. Once you get there, you can play the by the way, there's everything you need to know about the micro USB 3-port hub from Brando, including a picture. But once you get there, you can play the What the Heck Is It contest. And if you can identify this gadget, you could win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. But I got an even better deal for you. If you can't identify the gadget, you can also win. Basically, just do something, and you could win.
That's it. Make an effort.
Make any effort at all. The details are on the website, gizwiz.biz. Dick, stick around. The Giz Fizz coming up right after the radio show on twit.tv. We're going to thank you, sir. We're going to get back to our phone calls in just a bit. Got Doug in Huntington Beach. Oh, no, I just talked to Doug. He was having trouble with DSL Extreme. And I, by the way, Doug, hang on the line because we do want to get your address or your email, and I will get George from DSL Extreme back to you because they'll fix that. The problem, I should mention, with any independent DSL company is they're dependent on the phone company. And these phone companies do not like this. Verizon, Pac Bell, or AT&T, any phone company. So whoever your independent DSL provider is, has to ride on their wires. These companies, the phone companies, have to do it. The FCC makes them do it, but they don't have to like it. And most importantly, they don't have to be cooperative. And since they're responsible for the copper, often they're not. Now, I agree. You shouldn't have a cancellation fee for DSL Extreme if you moved, and I'm sure we can fix that for you. But unfortunately, it's not their fault. They're kind of stuck with these third-party phone companies. They're terrible. Back to the phones we go, and oh no, Doug disappeared. Aw. Who did you want me to talk to next? Was it Roger in Riverside? I can't remember now who it was I was supposed to talk to next. My memory is so bad.
Well, we did Steve, and then we did Doug.
Yeah, let's do Daryl in Henderson.
Okay.
How about that? Hi, Daryl. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You ready to be done?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for calling.
After we get off this call, I'm going to buy a laptop for my kid who's going to college, just like yours is.
Yay!
Yeah. You touched on this briefly a few weeks ago. I'd like to know the relative merits of the operating system, because I really, after hearing the 10-year-old kid...
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, from last week, he's a programmer.
Using Windows 8.
Yeah, and he didn't like Windows 8. Yeah.
But I would like...
Well, does your son have any previous experience with either Windows or Mac?
Windows, yeah, for sure. And we're not going to go the Mac route, but I'm looking...
Oh, I see. You're trying to decide whether to get Windows 8 or 7.
Windows 8 or 7, and also brands. I want something that's durable, and I'd like your recommendations for maybe the top 2 or 3.
My strong recommendation...
2 or 3 that I should, and even more so...
My strong recommendation...
recommend.
Yeah, for Windows...
I mean, that I should avoid.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's lots to avoid. It's easier for me to list the ones I'd recommend. How about that?
Okay, great.
Lenovo is the business computer. Don't go with their consumer grade stuff. Go with their business stuff. Okay. They can give you 7 or 8. I do strongly suggest touch screen if you're going to get 8, because it's really touch centric. I think you should go with 8. Frankly, it's the modern operating system. Dell's also good, but Lenovo's the best. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.